Hey everybody, welcome to bonus content. We did it. We made it. I almost broke everything. I'm here. Scott's here. Tony's here. And Abishin's here. We're all here. Uh, you know what I want to know, Nabishin? Tell me how you feel about Shazam. The man, the boy, the myth, the legend. Mm-hmm. I did, but my work conflicted. We talked about it last week. Yo, you're good. But I'm living through you now. Mm-hmm.
His performance, but like it's just the way he had to say it and the way it's done that like I just don't think it was super corny. um is everything going through? Because it's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
silent at my
yeah.
end. Okay.
I was fixing it. You're good.
Okay. Um but
Like
like
I
it's
guess
it's
how corny are we talking? Like, is it you? Because you had a little good Twitter thread about it, saying it was like more like jokes for like 14-year-olds or younger. Are we talking like safe corny? You know, like kind of like Lego Movie style humor of something that's like very directed at young people or understandable by young people, but maybe there's layering that's supposed to be there for adults and it just wasn't there.
yeah, like it's weird, man. Like, it's like there's nothing offensive about this movie whatsoever, and like at least that's how I feel as far as like what they say and what they do. Like the only like adult things that really happen is like when he's Shazam, not really a spoiler. Like he tries
Or
to buy
understandable.
beer. That's one thing, and another thing is like he just really he walks into an adults club and he just immediately walks back out. So it was like it's nothing. So like that was like that's a throwaway joke. That's not really anything for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the only like adult things about it. And like I said, there's like two scenes that are like actually like really dark. Like one is just super violent. So then I was like, oh wow, that's like like I would suggest a kid going to this movie, but like that was like a super violent part that was happening right there.
Got it.
And like in another scene where it's like the whole underlying story about like Billy Batson being a foster child and like him trying to reconnect with his mother, that he knows it's somewhere out there, and then like there's a resolution to that, which is kind of fucked up.
Nice.
So like like I'm sitting there with Callista who's 7 years old. She's like doesn't really understand it. It's like, oh, what? Why is this happening? So like it's like one of those things you have to explain to her. But like two really dark parts, but like other than that, it's like a super safe. It's like a PG movie like through and through.
Okay.
Honestly, um, like you might get like like a shit and asshole type of thing. I don't even know if they say shit, but I think they said asshole. But like yeah, it's like it's really just like it's like it's a very inoffensive movie that like I think you could take the kids except for like two certain parts in that movie, and that's it.
Is it weird to you that Batman v Superman in this movie exists in the same world?
It kind of doesn't.
Okay.
It's weird. Like because like it's officially dead now, the DCEU. So like sure there's a Batman reference and like there's a Superman reference in this movie, which is like it's good, but they don't go all the way with it, which is like that's that one thing. But yeah. I can't really talk about like, actually getting into it, but like
yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, but like like pretty much what I said, like the movie's well done and it's like I think it's better than like Venom. I think Venom was like top to bottom just a bad movie for me personally. I just didn't like that movie at all because like that movie was like nothing but nonsense and like you couldn't even like tell what was going on because there's like so much CG bullshit on the screen. For me personally,
yeah.
But like I wouldn't say it's better than Aquaman, which is like a flawed movie, yeah, Aquaman. But like there's like a level of fun and like genuine good moments about it. And like I said, this is a perspective movie type of thing because like I think about like you know like comparing something like this to like something like Captain Marvel, and it's like what the fuck are you people even talking about as far as like saying that's a bad movie when you look at this? Yeah. But like this movie is not bad. Like it just doesn't reach those type of levels type of thing. So it's like I don't know, man.
Yeah, I get you. Do you think I should see it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's nothing. I think you'll get nothing but like good vibes from it. It's a good vibe movie, I would say.
I like that.
Yeah, I just don't think you'll really like anything will get taken away from you. Like oh god, there's like maybe genuinely like 3 good moments in this movie. One was I thought was a super clever thing about like how they do like the final boss fight. Like the problem with that was it just lasted too long.
Of course,
it was like oh, this is cool. This is a really cool thing, and then like it just lasts forever. The very last bit that they do is like a good thing. Like right before the credit starts rolling. Like I like that. This didn't go all the way with it. And like you know, like there's nothing like visually like that's off-putting in this movie either. Like I think all the CG is really good, and like yeah, all the actors are good too. It's just corny.
Yeah, I like that perspective though. I guess I'd probably ultimately want a corny Shazam than like a bad Venom. You know.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever see Venom?
No, still haven't seen it.
Okay.
My goal is to watch it when it's on HBO, which will inevitably happen. I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, did you get any shenanigans this week?
Nope.
I'm still waiting.
I actually forgot that it hadn't been like 2 days that had passed since the last podcast because my week has been that boring.
Yeah, I feel you. I had like just a stressful week, just like long days at work. You know. Just I haven't been sleeping well for like 3 days. I've been waking up like every 10 minutes, it feels like.
Hell yeah.
Which is not my favorite. And it's not like new. I've had insomnia for a while, but I'd been on like a good streak for a while. So like I only got to play a little bit of Sekiro, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but I was like, you know what? Last night, I'll turn in early. I'll get extra sleep. And I ended up just laying in my bed for 4 hours without sleeping until I actually fell asleep. I was like, man, that's 4 hours I could have been playing Sekiro. But here I am in my garbage pile.
Hell yeah.
Scott, did you get in any shenanigans this week?
No, not particularly.
Okay. I'd bloviate a little bit more, but Discord blocked me out of this call for long, and so we started bonus content a lot later than I would like. So how would you guys feel about talking about video games?
Sure.
I would like to start the show.
Okay. I was thinking about mixing it up this week.
Video games is bonus content this week?
No. Just everything just slowly transitions into bonus content. We just start the show. It's like, no, let's talk about news.
Let's talk about news. All right.
Man, we're in it. No, but I was thinking, oh my gosh, we got a Silver PR voicemail. I just checked my phone. I was very excited.
Yay.
We live in an exciting time. No, I was gonna say let's start with news. Weirdly enough,
All right.
funnily enough. All right, you guys got Audacities ready?
No.
You know what? I appreciate that honesty. No,
And
God.
I forgot that recording this show was even a thing.
I know. I mean,
Let me get that ready.
Tony, do you also forget that you have to upload that audio to me at some
Hey,
point?
frequently. I always edit it like immediately after the show.
I'm
and
sure
like,
you do.
Like a lot of the time, it's like I'll get to the point where I'm exporting it because I have to export it before I forget what number of the show it is. Otherwise, it's an extra like 4 minutes when I come back, and can't be having that.
You're like searching the podcast feed, like,
Yeah, I gotta like
number
look for the
show?
doc and be like, "What the fuck number is this?"
What do we do?
And so yeah, I have to export it before I forget what the number is, and then usually I'll just forget that the show for the week even happened by the time it's done exporting.
Like
and then
30 minutes later.
yeah, I'll be like, man, where was I? For the last
What have I
4
been
hours?
doing for the last 3 hours?
Fuck.
God, I gotta go get some food. Yeah, no, I get you. I'm my
Like-
hope with the reminder text messages is just to catch you at a moment where you're looking at your phone.
Yeah.
Like, oh, will you see this one? I'm just gonna start messaging you gifs on Discord until you send me the audio file.
I mean, the more creative gift, the faster you get.
Deal. I can do that. Now, do you have Audacity ready?
Speaking
Nope.
of which, where's our gift, Tony?
Oh yeah, you.
It's true. We gotta get a pre-show GIF.
You have to give me a minute. I'm juggling like this Audacity and now other things.
I wonder what those other things are. I wonder how sexy and salacious they are.
Okay, recording software is ready to go.
Excellent. I'll give you a moment to find your jife of appropriateness.
I did like a triple shot of like fucking movies I love. Like before I went to go see Shazam, which is probably,
I saw that you had like Spider-Verse and
I saw Spider-Verse and I rewatched Thor Ragnarok again and I watched Infinity War again. Like all before I went to go see Shazam. I'm like, god damn.
yeah, that was a bad idea. I could've told you that. Where would you put Spider-Verse in this of those three? Because I'm like struggling with it too. Because
Number one.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen it yet, Scott?
No.
But I know it's fucking good. No, Ethan hasn't
But
seen it yet.
there was a quick look of the first 9 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm. And you were like, this
you
shit's
can't.
good.
You can't notice the animation thing.
Yeah, looks great, man.
The differing frames. It looked a bit weird in one of the trailers,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked at it again and I compared them side by side. And
Of course.
the trailer didn't look like the first look that I saw.
Yeah,
There was something weird with it.
I mean, they might have been refining it still.
To answer your question though, like I still think Thor Ragnarok still is probably my favorite superhero movie.
Yeah, it's tough. I would probably put Spider-Verse at my number one and Thor at number two.
Yeah,
You
I
know
think
it's
Spider-Verse
tough.
is probably my number two. Yeah, because I just rewatching Thor is just like I know all the jokes.
But
I
it's
know it,
still
but
funny,
it's-
dude.
it's
It's
still-
still so funny. I
And that
watched it like
soundtrack's
5
amazing.
times. Yeah, the soundtrack.
Visually is amazing. God, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you. Again, vindication. That's all I needed. Everybody loves Thor now. That's what I'm talking about. Tony, where's our GIF?
It's not a gift, but I think it's appropriate.
Great, live viewers get to see this too. That's a good one. I've seen that one before. I like it. All right, you guys got your Audacities ready?
Uh-huh.
On 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I think I started like 2 seconds early.
That's okay.
It'll get worked out.
Yeah, I said one a little too early again, and he actually fell for it this time.
Yeah, it's true. God damn it, Scott. I should run to the bathroom first. Yes. All right, I'll be right back. I almost didn't.
I got a new one. I'm gonna do it next week.
You one for one?
A way to mess with the countdown.
Ah, gotcha. Can you remember it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Who do you think Scott is?
The master of forgetting shit.
You're right.
Nino Kuni's coming on PC, Scott.
I'm gonna count down faster than the countdown.
So have you guys finished Kingdom Hearts yet, or
this week? I was super close last week, but it was really late and I had to go to bed, so I just missed the ending of it.
It was like what, less than an hour, Scott, for you? I think it was.
Yeah, less than an hour.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. It is Saturday, March 23rd, 2019, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions podcast. I'm your host, Alex O'Neill, and joining me this week, as in all weeks, Scott Guthier.
I should have thought that before I said something.
Also joining me, as always, Tony Horvath.
for now?
Don't hurt me like that, Tony. Jesus. Don't you dare leave me. And joining me, as always, Brian Nobishin Jackson.
Shazam.
That's a classic right there. We got a great show lined up for everybody. It's Irrational Passions podcast. It's a video games podcast. It's about video games, I've been told. I'm not sure. And I want to talk a lot about a lot of different things this episode because a lot happened in the last week. So real quick, we're gonna just go right into this. I'm gonna do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we're gonna talk about some fun news because I think we should. Housekeeping this week, Irrational Passions podcast is a product of irrationalpassions.com, and there's a ton of great stuff up there for you to read, listen, experience, enjoy, whatever your verb is. I don't know. Including a new indie highlights from Mike Burgess, a great little collection of indie games, including Toe Jam and Earl Nomishin. Shout out. Shout out. But also Baba Is You, which I had never heard of, but looks really cool. And Hypnospace Outlaw, another really cool looking video game. So go check it out if you are interested in cool indie games. It's a good. Mike tries to do one of those every month. And if he can't, George Cruz will step up and do them. They're good if you're just looking for a cool indie game to jump into at any given time. Also up this week, the Input fellas, they talked about Stadia. We're about to get into that in just a minute, but apparently that show was very heated. So I have not listened to it yet, but apparently they got into it. And the second episode of our video game book club for Thimbleweed Park is up. Logan Wilkinson wrote a great feature about Ape Out, a story type feature, which is Logan's like tried and true trade, I should say. And of course, Raccoon City Radio is over. If you missed it last week, it happened. We finished Resident Evil 2. Andrew and I sat down and talked about it. It's on the website now. We did a little post-mortem discussion with Jarrett and Logan. So it was just the four of us kind of talking about how we felt about 2, where it ranks in the great Resident Evil ranking, and also where does Capcom go from here with Resident Evil? How would you feel, Nobishin, if Resident Evil just ended now?
Just ended?
Yeah, just ended. There's never another Resident Evil game. That's where that show goes.
How would you rank that Resident Evil, like on a scale of 1 to like worst Resident Evil game to best Resident Evil game, with best Resident Evil game being Operation Raccoon City.
Oh, of course. And on that scale, it's probably like toward the bottom.
Yeah. Makes sense. It's really hard to compare other games to that one.
Yeah, dude. I'm pretty sure every button in that game throws a grenade. That's all I remember about that game. But
all I remember about that game is Joe Fate fucking murdering me.
Every button was a grenade. How could you not get murdered? But that's everything on irrationalpassions.com. Other housekeeping bits. I'm going to be in Boston next week for PAX East. If you're going to be there, say hi. We're not going to have a normal show next week. Maybe something will get recorded in Boston. I'm thinking about maybe just not. But at very least, there will not be a show with the four of us. Next week, we will return the following week and talk about other video games or whatever. But that's it for housekeeping. Let's get into the news.
News in gaming.
You guys want to start big and go down, or you want to start down and go big?
Yes.
Go big or go home.
Go big or go home, I guess. All right.
What about go big and then go home?
I'm gonna go big and then I'm gonna take a nap. So that's my going home. Let's talk about it. We talked about it last week. I'm just very curious. I haven't talked to any of the three of you about it, at least not really yet. So I'm just kind of curious where everybody's at. So Google had a conference at the Game Developers Conference. They had a little press conference where they talked about their new video game platform, Stadia, which I feel like the more I say it with my mouth, the less good it feels.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's a lot of like the T and D combo. It just doesn't. It's a lot for me. It's a lot of something.
What about the X and B right next to each other combo that Microsoft's been rocking? Doesn't really roll off the tongue either.
No. I mean, we're going to talk about the controller in a little bit. If you want to talk about X's and B's, you know what I mean? But this is Google's new streaming platform, quote unquote, for AAA games. I don't know if you've heard of these AAA games. They had a whole little showing of it that I feel like they talked a lot but didn't say a lot, especially having watched it now. But there's a lot of cynicism on the internet about this, so I'm just gonna say maybe I'm gonna try and play a little bit of devil's advocate here. It is a streaming platform, and in theory, any device that you have that has a screen and connects to the internet can play games with this streaming platform. The idea would be you load up a client, and then you're streaming the video game to you. Which is not like a new concept. We've seen this before. PlayStation Now, On Live. Never forget On Live.
I believe there's also something called Shadowplay in the works.
Shadowplay sounds familiar.
That's out in the wild right now, right?
It might be.
I'm not sure if it's out, but I do know that I was reading about it at some point. And so it's... Everything comes down to how they're solving input lag with all these systems. And to me, it looks like Google has the best solution.
Yeah. They talk a lot about their technology, their rack computers or whatever they might be, their platform that your game is running on. It's like the big points that they focus on, right? Accessible from any device, so phone, computer, smart TV, I guess in theory console, but that was markedly left off. And resolution and frame rate would be very high, 60 frames per second, up to 4K with HDR. So something that would be of a very high fidelity. But those are the two. Those are my big two takeaways. There were a lot of other really cool features that they kind of got into, like the idea if you're watching somebody stream a game, which you can just stream a game from the platform directly to a streaming service. They specifically mentioned YouTube streaming. But you are playing the game and it's streaming directly from the platform that you are streaming from. So there's less latency would be the hope, and it wouldn't necessarily depend on your connection to stream it out. You would just be streaming it in to play it. And if somebody's watching live, they can queue up and join your game just like that, just by watching it. If somebody's watching a trailer on YouTube, they can hit play and just start playing that game because, like, hey, it's just available to you on whatever platform you're on. Stuff like that.
Because they are renting.
Yeah.
It's essentially because it's a rental service.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, well, that's
Right.
that's the last thing I want to get into. So, other cool things would be like you can, let's say you're at a specific part of a game, you can share that state of that game to everyone, right? You could jump into literally that moment in that game with your choices, your items, your whatever. It's basically your exact save state you can just give to someone else. But yeah, the one thing they never didn't at all talk about was pricing at all. Like, we don't know if we're going to buy games. We don't know if it is like a monthly fee. They didn't talk about it whatsoever, which
Right.
was weird for me, but I'm with you, Scott. I would assume this would be something where you are paying an overhead and you were kind of just renting all these games, kind of like Game Pass.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. So if you go on the internet at this point, you can get plenty of either perspective of like, hey, this will never work, blah blah, ISPs, net neutrality. There's like a bazillion things that you can punch holes in with this, or say like, okay, Google could probably figure out a solution to this, but do we really want Google to have this much control over everything, et cetera, et cetera? And then there's the kind of positive side of like, this is the future. Consoles are dead. Burn it all to the ground. Shut it down. Everything's over. This is the way things are going. Discs are gone. Consoles are gone. This is it. I feel there's so many of both extremes. I just want to know each of your perspectives. Like, what do you think? How do you feel? Are you excited? Are you interested? Do you not care? Take me through
What it kind of comes down to for this thing to be competitive
it. Mm-hmm.
is the yearly cost under the PC upkeep mark?
Yeah.
Because the Switch is under that mark,
Yeah.
and the consoles kind of hit under that mark when you add all the other shit we have to buy for consoles. So it kind of doesn't, but
Mhm.
still. And that's the takeaway here, because if it's the same cost, or I want to say relatively 10% within,
Mhm.
the experience of the input lag is going to essentially, it's going to drop most genres from being enjoyable.
Yeah. Like, imagine playing a fighting game on this if there is any latency at all, right? That doesn't sound very fun.
And the worst part about it is it's that kind of latency. You can't drop the match and get into a new one with better latency.
Mhm.
That is what it is, because that is what your connection to the server you're being hosted on is.
Yeah.
And then if that gets compounded if somebody, the person that you're playing against, even if they get brought to your server, if
Yeah.
their connection is worse, that only gets compounded.
Yeah, just it's all made worse. Are you interested in this, Scott? Do you just want to try it? Where are you at with it?
As far as trying it, the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
But even though I already have the $1,500 PC,
Yeah.
it costs me about $80 a year in terms of turnover and parts. So
No.
there's no real point for me to sell the things that I have to pick up a streaming service that's guaranteed to be not as good.
Okay. Not where are you at with this?
I mean, I just think about it like in like certain aspects of like where I would personally want to use it, and like like, and the only thing that can really like do it is like it's like the same. It's kind of like the same thing what I do with Game Pass, but to a lesser extent. It's like
You and I are going to be on a similar page when we get back to me. I'll let you know.
Okay, but it's like I'll never use it, but like when like the game of what I want to play on air like that, or whatever AAA exclusive they have, or even whatever indie exclusive that they have, like there's no real reason why I shouldn't just fire it up just to like play it if it's good enough, and if it doesn't impact me that any big way as far as like the input lag or something like that, because like there's no, I mean, like if it's there, why the fuck not? Like let's just say like if it's Shovel Knight 2 or whatever, they have they have that on Stadia or whatever, and I could play that right now on my laptop or whatever. Sure, why not? Just to try it out. Like I'll probably wait till like I actually get like the thing I want to play on till I actually get the full experience. But there's no real reason why I can't just like just like do like I said, what I do with the Game Pass. Like when there's a game that interests me, sure, I'll subscribe for that month and like immediately cancel it, so I just enjoy it for the month and then I'll be done with it. Because like personally, I'm a person right now as far as like the way I play games, like me being a person who plays fighting games, I never play them online anymore, and just because like I can't stand the lag anymore. Personally, it's just like I just can't. Like I would rather just play in the same room with somebody else, and I have people I can do that with, not on a regular basis or anything like that, but like there are people I can go to like their houses and play in the same room and play fighting games like that, whether it's Smash or Mortal Kombat or whatever.
Wouldn't you say it's true that like the amount of times that you are in that room with those people and play it is like exactly the amount of times you want to necessarily be doing that? So it's like it's not like killing you every day that you can't play fighting games online.
Not necessarily. Like like for instance, I've never played anyone in Dragon Ball Fighters. I've always just played that game by myself.
Oh man.
And I have a friend I could play that with, but like
you're right, Nabishin, we gotta send you to Evo.
And like I have a friend where I can actually play that game with, and like I know I like, and that's the thing too. Like I know I'm not good in the game. I just like playing the game, and like even though if I lose like a million times, like I've always lost a bunch of times with in fighting games, but like it's just playing it. Playing it is fun. Being around it is fun. Like just like ooh, I like seeing you do that combo. That's so awesome.
Okay.
That's just the way how I like it. And like the only cynical thing I have with like Stadia, honestly, is like when I saw all the Sekiro reviews and like the streamers playing Sekiro, it's like, man, like that's this is the game I would want to play on a streaming platform. I was being sarcastic, but like that's the only cynical thing I've ever really said about it. But yeah, like it, I don't mind it existing. It's just like as far as like what I want, it's not there for me. And like it's like kind of what we said with each other, Alex. Like I'm hoping that Microsoft will hit like the middle ground of what I would actually want for something like this.
Yeah.
As far as like me actually having that tangible box to like get the best experience, like literally the best experience, not like kind of the best experience, like kind of having lag and being kind of 4K and kind of HDR. But I can actually have it that way and still have like the options to just taking it anywhere I want to. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's true of Scott with like a PC too, like or anyone with PC too. Tony, how do you feel?
I mean, it's like I said last week. Competition is good and will breed innovation in the fucking console space.
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, I already have a more powerful machine that can already do anything that machine will do and probably do it better.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just no reason for me to be interested in it.
You're streaming at 8K, baby? They said 8K on this stage, and I was like, come on, guys.
Like, that's a lot of Ks.
It was so hard for me, from my perspective, like, my first reaction was cynical. It was the cynical thing. I was like, hey, like, there's no way this is like a huge public consumption of this is good, or like the quality of what everyone will get is good, right? And I mean most specifically latency. Like, but keep in mind that I've had experiences with streaming. I've tried PlayStation Now, I've tried on Live in the past. I think it's a really cool idea, especially the idea that you don't have to download anything, you don't have to patch anything. There's no hacking, quote unquote, according to Google, because everything is on our server. Everything is in our box. Everyone is in our box, and they're capturing us. But I've always had latency when I've streamed games, and it's miserable for me. Like I'm the one that spends 20 hours shopping for a TV, reading reviews, because if the input lag on the TV is not good enough, I am like, I cannot buy this. I cannot play games on this. I've played a game on like an input latent TV, and it's miserable. And that's just like a TV. Imagine like the combo of that and a streaming service, which is still like a huge thing. Like it's my mom's TV that I'm talking about. It's a smart TV. Ideally, it is like the exact target demographic for this. East Coast, somewhere with good internet, smart TV. TV has input lag. Game has input lag. It's miserable for me. And maybe like I think to some extent I might be a little bit more sensitive to that than most. And there are people out there that tried their beta test, or I guess like pre-alpha test last year, Project Stream, that said it was great and there wasn't really bad input lag. But I feel like the comment is always, well, it wasn't really bad input lag. There was still input lag. It was just like not that bad, you know? And I just, if you told me there is a way I can play this like Sekiro, there's a way you can play Sekiro and it's not going to have that latency, I would play it that way. I would figure it out. I would buy the console. I would do that. I think like the streaming stuff, like watching people stream, queuing up, playing with them, in theory is cool. Obviously, there's that toxicity and shittiness to that as well, but like that's everywhere. And I don't know, man. It's for me, Nabishin, to go back to what you were saying about Game Pass. It is exactly that of like I would have it. Maybe I would pay for it. I don't think it could be more than $10 a month, maybe $15. Because Game Pass is $10 a month, and I don't think you can go higher than that or go more than 15. I would pay for it. I would have it, and I would probably never use it, or I would think about using it a lot, or I would use it to try things and then buy those things on consoles, right? Like, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I can just play this right now and just see what it's like. Okay, played a little bit, loaded up a save state later on. This game seems cool. I'm gonna buy it on my Xbox now, right? Like, I could totally see me doing that. But my feeling was just because I was like really frustrated with all of the people on either end of the spectrum, right? Like, I think there's a problem with the people who are like, fuck this. don't take my games away from me. Like, don't you dare take my discs. Like, I'm not quite there. I think that's a little closed-minded. I think there's some real stuff with this, like you said.
Right, because it's, what if every once in a while you like that odd RPG game?
Yeah.
Where input lag doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't. In those games, it does not matter.
Yeah. And what if you could play that anywhere, anytime? Right? I think there's real cool stuff in here.
Yeah, it's like, what if you played Persona 4, got out of video games, and just wanted to try Persona 5?
Yeah.
Bought it for 3 months, paid probably the cost of the game on it. We'll say it's $20, because you don't have to buy a console on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you played Persona for $60 and the cost of a console.
Yeah. And that's it.
Or a good PC rig. And that's it. You played it on your smart TV.
Yeah, with your Wi-Fi controller.
With your Wi-Fi controller.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Scott. Like, there's value in this, and I think it should exist. And like you said, Tony, I think it can push things forward and make things better in a grand scheme type of things. But I think if you think this is it, and it's going to phase out everything else, I just don't think that's true. Like, I think things like Switch, things like the success of the PS4 are proof that when things are well made, well done, and consistently good, people will buy them.
It's like how escalators were going to phase out stairs.
Yeah, exactly. I know, right? I don't need a fucking stair technician to come in for my broken stairs every 3 months like I do at the fucking mall I work at. It's just like escalators are always fucking broken. Yeah, dude. I think there's room for both of these things. I think if you think this is just the end of consoles, it's a little extreme. Maybe it's indicative of a future where they're less prevalent. But like Nintendo's still gonna fucking make stupid shit, I feel. I don't think people are just gonna fold right now. I don't think Sony's in particular trouble because they're not planning for this.
I think the big thing about the console market is that Sony and Microsoft are essentially competing to make the same machine better.
Yeah.
But Nintendo is offering different consoles.
Yeah, for better and for worse.
For better or for worse, the only other competitor could be a different type.
Mm-hmm.
Not more of the same.
Yeah.
And that's why Tony's comment of this is good for the console marketplace is a very true statement.
Yeah.
This is a console competitor.
Yeah. And I think it goes in with what you're saying, Nabashin, of like maybe one of the people in the consoles right now will figure out that middle ground. Maybe Project X Cloud, whatever it turns out, however well that works, will be your middle ground where you can have the console and have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, because like they're all doing it. Literally, all of them are doing it. Even Nintendo is doing it in Japan. So like, it's just a matter of like, maybe not even like which one does it the best, but like which one is just the most convenient. Like Google has the most convenient one just because it's on your browser. But like I'm just thinking of like which one is like the most feasible one. Which one is the like Google? So like because like I think like I probably my biggest issue with the conference is like it seems like Google's trying to go for the Wii audience when it's only talking in like the normal AAA Sony Microsoft type of way, where just like they want the everybody's, but like you're talking to the people who are like who don't want that.
That's precisely what they were doing.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But the sad part about that is that I know you're talking about the language, but they kind of rely on those people to spread it around.
Yeah, I also I think I don't know, it's weird because it like you could throw off like it's a GDC conference. This was 2 developers, 4 developers, et cetera, but it was like it was more than that. I think it was the first time they were talking about this. Of course, like more eyes are going to be on that, so I don't think you can just write it off as that. I think maybe there is a world where they just shouldn't have streamed this and just did the conference to GDC and then people wrote about it afterwards and it would have sounded more exciting. I don't know. This platform launches in 2019, so I guess we will know more before the end of the year. They're going to talk more about it in June, which would probably be around or near E3. I don't necessarily want to spend too much time talking about Stadia. I've listened to a lot of podcasts talk about Stadia this week, so I think like I just really wanted everybody's individual perspectives, and y'all crushed it. You gave me what I wanted.
It's interesting. They're just like when it launches, they're just doing it just in the North Americas and Europe, because like when you think of a place that has like the infrastructure for this type of thing, you would think something like Japan.
Yeah,
and like
a lot of Asian countries.
Yeah, though I wouldn't think they would jump onto this either. But like like something that's literally built and where internet is fucking everywhere. Like like just to like to have your foolproof, your top goal being that, and like seeing how that works there. That's like the peak of how you can get it. Just to have like an example, I guess you would say. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the internet cafes will be mad about it.
Yeah, I think maybe they're trying to talk. They want to make this a Western thing, and I think Google being a Western company also like maybe they don't know how to sell it right. I don't know. Mm-hmm. We got some other news to talk about though. This morning, I don't know what time. I imagine like 3:00 a.m. I don't know for sure though. Persona 5 The Royal was announced. It was just a quick teaser trailer. It was once again a teaser for
An announcement for an announcement.
an announcement for an announcement, a teaser presumably for another teaser. But they said we'd know more in March. It's March. We know a little bit more. All we know is that it is a Persona game. It is going to be on PS4. It's called Persona 5 The Royal. Presumably, this is an enhanced version of Persona 5. I don't know if it was you, Nabishin, or someone else that threw out the idea that this could be a sequel.
I said, what if it was?
Yeah, which was like before it was announced. I think that's honestly not off the table, right?
Yeah, especially because what the enhanced version is supposed to be called is Persona 5 Tomato.
Yeah, Tomato Red Edition, of course. But it's Persona 5 R is how it is being portrayed still, like the logos in R. And it is a short teaser of a young lady in Shibuya Square wearing the school uniform. That is the school. I forget what it's called in Persona 5. It's the uniform of the school. Shujin Academy. And she's looking at a screen, and there's Japanese dialogue, which roughly translates to someone asking her what she thinks of the Phantom Thieves. And I have a rough translation quote of her saying, "In the end, I feel like you can only solve that yourself." And I think she says like one other line, but it was like she doesn't necessarily like the Phantom Thieves. She doesn't think, this is the Polygon article wording, she doesn't think the group will ultimately help the world. That's it. That's all we know. We're going to learn more on April 24th. But a little speculation in there. I wouldn't just tease you like that. I want to give you a little bit of something to think about, or maybe us talk about. People are speculating. She looks very much like the female protagonist from Persona 3. My first thought when I first saw it was female protagonist.
Instant fury. You're so upset.
Yeah, exactly. So upset. I'm like, it's not canon. I'm screaming at my computer. I'm shaking my monitor. You can't do this. Got it. We just got to make me sound like the worst person here. No, but I was like, oh, it's going to be a female protagonist or a female playable character, right? You can play the game as a female instead. That was my
I'm
first
sorry.
thought.
It is so funny because
It's really funny.
the kind of person that you are, and just
Yeah.
like for that to be such a negative reaction for you when you play the Persona 3 on PSP is so funny.
The thing is, I love that campaign too.
Mhm.
It's just like, it frustrates me that it's not recognized anywhere else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I get it, man.
and it's also it's an inferior version of that game. Can't walk around, dude. It's fucked up. But yeah, this is my first thought. Okay, this is gonna be a female protagonist. Some people point out some cool things, right? One, she's wearing a pin marking her year in school. She's wearing a first year pin. The protagonist in Persona 5 is a second year, as was true of Persona 3 and 4 as well. So maybe it's not a female protagonist. Maybe it is a new character, which is possible. I think, like, Marie was a new character added to Persona 4 Golden. Totally new character for that. And in Persona 3 Fez, Aigis, who was a character in the game before, became a social link where she wasn't in the original Persona 3. So that is like them adding social links and adding characters that you can interact with is not unheard of in re-releases of Persona games. Another possibility is that if you choose to play a female protagonist, maybe she's younger. My thing about that is I don't really know ultimately where it's going to go. I think it's... I guess I'm probably leaning more towards this is a totally new character, and I hope it's a female protagonist. But because of the way the story of Persona 5 is written, a lot of it hinges on a thing that you did. I don't know if it would happen the same way with a female protagonist.
Do you think it'll just be like a radically just new campaign?
I mean, that is what in a weird way, that is what the Persona 3 portable campaign is. So I'm not sure. To be fair, like the main story of Persona 3 is still the same in the female campaign of Persona 3 portable, but they're totally new characters, like multiple new characters, not just one or two. the way the social links work is totally different. So because you have all these different characters that you can create social links with. So I don't know. I think it would have to be to some extent. Tony did have to step out, just for everyone listening at home, but he will be hopefully back later. But yeah, what do you think, Nalshin?
Like I had a discussion with Scott White, like when this was going down, and just sharing thoughts and like ideas and stuff like that. Like honestly, like like when I was talking to Scott, like I was just thinking, like, because like Persona 5 to me is like a perfect video game in my eyes. So like I said it sarcastically, but like, you know, like I honestly kind of mean it too. It's like, how do you like improve on perfection? And like and mostly like as far as systems wise, like me and Scott couldn't really think of anything as far as like that, but like he was saying like story wise, he would like to get like more in depth with like a catchy side as far as like doing some sleuthing with the Phantom Thieves. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. I think you could totally redo a catchy storyline too, to some extent. Like integrate him way more into the story, kind of like what they did with a certain character in Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah, because like is lazy's not the right word. I would use it, but like but they kind of just gave you those rank up with the catchy, like kind of like frivolously. Like you randomly talk to them and then like you get your rank up a little bit. And it's like, oh, come on, you could do a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. Like, I'm it's so weird because like because I don't want to get my hopes up saying like, oh, it's a whole new like it's a whole sequel to it.
Yeah.
Like I literally couldn't handle that.
I feel like they would be more clear about it if that were true.
Yeah, 100%.
Calling it Persona 5 The Royal is basically saying the Royal Edition, which makes me think it's just Persona 5 again.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like it's interesting they're still doing just on PS4, or at least for now, as far as we know. But yeah, like whatever, dude. Just give it to me. Like I've been wanting to play the game.
Yeah, right?
I've been wanting to play the game, but like I've been holding out for it.
Yeah, no, I had this like revelation when I played Tales of Vesperia, when I finished the definitive edition, of like, man, I really like that I got to play this game twice. And it's kind of fucked up, but like I love the original version of that game and I love the definitive edition for that version of that game to some extent for different reasons, but mostly for the same reasons. But I love that I got a great game because, like, I don't know, I feel like you can be really cynical about it and be, well, what the fuck's the point if they're just going to make a better version later? And that's totally fair. I don't think that's unjustified to a certain extent. I don't think you should be like livid about it, but I realized like especially like Kingdom Hearts 2, another big standout. Now Tales of Vesperia, and with the idea of like a new edition of Kingdom Hearts 3 even, I kind of like redoing things with a little bit more stuff to it. Because I don't know, there is something about, I like the theory behind, here's the original story that we wanted to tell, and here's this expanded version of it. I like seeing those side by side. I like seeing and understanding what had to go or what had to get cut, or just generally, this is the ideas that we had that are new. Like we saw what you played and we saw what you liked, and here's what we wanted to add to that. I don't know, like Mass Effect is another great example, right? Like I don't know, I feel like Citadel is like that was made after Mass Effect 3 was done, right?
Right. Like
that was made after Mass Effect 3 was out and played by people, and people reacted to it, and this was their response to that. And I think there could be a lot in Persona 5 Royal that is that as well. And I've played a lot of really good definitive editions of games lately, and I think there's merit to both versions. So yeah, like just the idea of playing, because that was a big hang up I had when I was talking about Persona 5, was I felt really conflicted that I was playing this version of this game, basically knowing that there would probably be a better version in the future. And it's like, how do I feel about this? Like, are my problems justified or unjustified? Are my problems things that were rushed or skipped or not treated as well? Or are they just problems I fundamentally have with this? I don't know. Now I'm just kind of along for the ride. I've settled a little bit. I really had a great time with the 103 hours I spent with Persona 5, and I don't regret it. But if you told me I could go back and have an even better time, I would always do it. I would do it every time.
Video games are so interesting, dude. It's like putting out something like Persona 5 and like having that be my 2017 for me. Just like just that year was that game for me. And just to say like, oh, we're going to enhance it just like 2 years later. Just like, we're just going to do that for you. And it's just like, man,
That's a gift.
Yeah. It's like, because you can't really get that with anything else.
Yeah.
Like as far as media, like, I'm sure you could add deleted scenes and stuff like that. But, you know, it's something that like, oh, we see what you loved and like, we're going to enhance it just a little bit and maybe put in a little bit more story and hopefully you'll enjoy it more. And if you don't like it, just play the original and just enjoy it like that. And it's like, thank you.
And both versions can coexist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you think they should do, or do you think they will do a DLC, the Royal DLC for the original Persona 5, or will you have to buy the standalone thing for $60? I mean, you and I both know the real answer.
Yeah, I know the real answer, but like, it'd be a baller thing if they did DLC, but like, I don't think they're gonna do that.
Yeah, I would say like you could do it for $40. Like they're charging $40 for a Monster Hunter World expansion this year. You could put out the Royal expansion for $40. People would pay $40 for that, and I don't think that's unreasonable. Save $20. You don't have to buy a new version of the game. There's a possibility there. I ultimately don't think it'll happen. But yeah, I don't know. Tony, before he had to leave, it sounds like he's probably not coming back, but he says any new Persona 5 is good. So I'm bummed that Tony left though before this next news story. Nintendo had a very good Nintendo Direct, a Nindies showcase this week. So it's exactly your shit, Scott. And there were a couple headliners, a couple of big announcements that are very cool. The one that I wanted to share with Tony is
Spoilers.
The one I had to share with Tony.
You were legitimately considering not continuing.
No, I did. It was written on my goddamn face. The one I wanted to share with Tony was Cadence of Hyrule, which is a pseudo sequel to Crypt of the Necrodancer, with Zelda music and Zelda characters, which sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
Yeah, dude, I know you're getting it, Scott.
I beat Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Yeah,
and I went back to play some of the other weirder characters in that too.
Did you like them?
The only reason I stopped booting the game back up is because it was a 2-minute boot.
Oh, okay. That is a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
like half the size of Italy there. You gotta stop.
Was that a Scott joke? Was that a bit right there? That's very good. That's very good. Yeah, I obviously Tony is saying the praises of Crypt of the Necrodancer to all of us. I've not played it because I'm afraid of rhythm games. Have you played it, Nabashin?
Crypt of the Necrodancer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played it. It's not my thing, honestly.
Really? Okay. I know rhythm games are your thing, so I was just curious. Obviously, it is different. But yeah, I was too afraid to play Crypt of the Necrodancer because I infamously have zero rhythm. But Cadence of Hyrule seems cool. Maybe I'll try it out. You can play Link. You can play Zelda. It's got a kind of newish art style that's a little bit smoother, a little bit, I would say, like more 16-bit. It kind of reminds me of how Minish Cap looks. It looks great. But yeah, I don't know. My biggest takeaway for Cadence of Hyrule was how cool it was that Nintendo is just giving their IP to an indie studio and letting them make a game with it. I think that's just super rad.
This is probably the first time, right?
I
can't
mean, like,
think of another-
This is the second time they're lending out mainline IP
yeah.
to essentially to a studio.
Yeah, the only other one.
But this is the first indie.
Yeah, because obviously Hyrule Warriors and God, what's the Fire Emblem? Fire Emblem Heroes, or is that the
Echoes?
No, Echoes was a Fire Emblem.
Oh, you mean the fire?
Not battle royale, the Dynasty Warriors one. Was it
Yeah, okay.
Was it just Fire Emblem Warriors?
Fire Emblem, yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, so Hyrule Warriors, Fire Emblem Warriors. Those are the only other two that I know, and that's the same studio. So yeah, this is like the second time they're doing this. It's Zelda again, weirdly enough. Maybe they just feel the most comfortable. But yeah, I like imagine how cool that would be of like, hey, you know, like the character of this is somewhat inspired by Zelda, and now we get to make a Zelda game with this character and Link and Zelda. It's really rad. It's just good vibes. It's coming out this spring too, so it's coming out soon. Coming to Switch. Looks great.
I was about to say, well, you know, with the how the game works, Mario wouldn't really fit. But then I was like, no. Legend of the Seven Stars was a thing. So is Paper Mario.
Yeah.
That could work. We could have saw Gino in a game again.
Yeah, we could have. Yeah. Keep the dream alive. A couple other announcements that I wrote down here. I didn't write down everything. Cuphead was the other big one, which is just wild. It's just like Nintendo just straight up in their conferences like, yeah, Microsoft's just letting us do this. So it's cool, I guess. Thanks to our friends at Microsoft, was the wording exactly. It's coming out April 18th.
It's just that, like nothing else, right? Like, I mean, like
apparently
like,
there is some exclusive content on the Switch.
But I mean, like more of like
other games.
I guess what I mean, like Microsoft saying like, because like I can see Microsoft seeing that game and be like, yeah, this is be a perfect thing for the Switch, but like there was like nothing else like really just talked about as far as like any other games. Like I can't even think.
Ori and the Blind Forest was the other one.
Yeah, like that would be a good one there.
Yeah, but I specifically heard people saying that Ori was coming to Switch as well. I don't know how true that is. It's weird hearing that and now seeing this. Cuphead is a perfect fit. It's incredible. I think it's so cool that this game is coming out on Switch. Like, I'm so excited to play it again. Obviously, that DLC for Cuphead is at some point coming out this year. I don't know if maybe that'll release on both simultaneously. But yeah, it's so cool. Are you gonna get it again on Switch, Nomshin?
Probably not, honestly.
Okay. Well, I like they showed it. They had a trailer with it. I assume it was captured on Switch. Looks like it runs great. That'd be my only concern. People talk about Cuphead being a hard game to run, and there's a lot going on in those games. To be fair, assuming there's no performance issues, I'm just so excited to play that game again. But yeah, that's a great fit for Switch. You know, obviously, like taking the Joy-Cons off and just playing like local with a friend is like a perfect thing that could happen very easily. It's a great co-op game. Yeah, it's a great fit. We have no reasoning or no idea behind the reasoning of this, like why this happened, how this happened. It just happened, and it's coming out in like 3 weeks, which is cool. A couple other shout outs. Rad is a new Double Fine game. It's directed by Lee Petty, who directed Stacking. And did he direct Iron Brigade?
No, that was Brad Meir.
Yeah, it's Brad Meir. Okay. But Stacking, great game.
Stacking, though, man, that's like a super callback.
That's a great game. That was the first free PlayStation Plus game. I know that just because that's how I got it. But yeah, Rad, it is a roguelike top-down action game where it's like a post-apocalyptic world where like you get mutations, I guess would be the best way to describe them. Where you mutate your head into a snake head, and then you can spit acid. You can mutate your butt into a spider butt, and you can give spider babies that have your head on it. It looks super cool. It's coming out this summer. It looks like a fun like top-down action game, especially like it's just cool. Anytime Double Fine does something, it's always got a lot of personality. Katana Zero, which is coming out also April 18th, is a really cool looking like stealth action game or like fast-paced action game. I guess it's not really stealth. Where you play like a samurai warrior who can like slow down time and cut bullets in half and deflect bullets back at people. And you going through these kind of action-paced levels, and you die in one hit. It's 2D, like a 2D platformer, but it's got certainly Hotline Miami vibes. So, Nuclear Throne, which was actually shadow dropped during the Nindies Direct, and which is, if you've not heard of Nuclear Throne, it's a cool twin stick shooter. And My Friend Pedro has come out in June. My Friend Pedro is another kind of 2D action game in the style of Hotline Miami with really cool music and really over-the-top action, and you dance while you kill dudes. And it looks like it looks like John Wick the video game in a lot of ways. It's the best way to describe it. Great showing. There's a lot of other stuff. I was going through the email that I got about it today, and it's too much to put in here. I don't want to go through every single game. Those are the ones I want to call out. There was another game, I forget the title of it, but it was like a card game, I think. Do you remember this, Namashin?
The card game?
Like, was it like an action game where you throw down cards? It did remind me of Chain of Memories. Maybe I'm just imagining this.
I do not know.
I don't remember the name of it. But it was a great showing. A lot of good stuff in there. And again, all this stuff coming out this year, presumably. So, jam-packed full of very exciting things for the next, 8 months. Which is nice, and Nintendo's been really good about that. The only other news story I pulled is Sony announced their first ever State of Play. They said it was going to be the first, so I assume this will be an ongoing series. It's going to be on March 25th. It's going to be announcing and talking about upcoming PS4 and PSVR titles. It seems like this is their version of a Nintendo Direct, or Microsoft's equivalent is Inside Xbox. So, Tony, you did come back.
Semi-false alarm, I'm here.
Semi-false alarm, you are here.
Would you like to tell us about this false alarm?
No.
Tony is a man of mystery. Honestly, I respect that, Tony. Let's backtrack real quick. Tony, how do you feel?
Are you still recording?
Are you still
No.
recording? Okay. Thank you, Nomerson.
Before you get into it.
Are you ready to start recording again?
Sure.
All right. On 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi, Tony. Welcome back.
We're in here.
We're in here. Tony, how do you feel about Cadence of Hyrule, a Crypt of the Necrodancer sequel?
Sounds great.
Would you buy a Switch for it?
Maybe, but only because
I mean, Animal Crossing.
I already have to get one for Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Okay. Tony, if you end up getting a Switch for Animal Crossing, would you play Fire Emblem?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I played all the other ones.
Yeah, I just want to. I like talking about those games with you. And last but not least, you kind of mentioned it in the chat before you left. How do you feel about Persona 5 The Royal?
I don't know if you guys covered my thoughts already, but it sounds great regardless. Like, either it'll be new Persona experience or like a perfect setting for me to replay that game in.
Cool.
And either one is great for me.
Agreed. Cool. There's the news wrap up with Tony Horvath. State of Play seems cool. It's going to be March 25th, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern. So check it out. Maybe they'll announce some cool stuff. Maybe they'll give Spelunky 2 a release date. The fucking cowards. It's not going to be at PAX East. I'm a little upset about it. So
I think you can guarantee that, honestly.
Really?
I would bet on it even.
You would bet on it?
I would bet on it.
I wouldn't bet against you, so yeah. Let's hope. Namshin, you and I, let's bet together. Stream together. That's it. That's all I got for news. unless you guys have anything else. I feel like I did cut some things out. Like I think we might have talked about last week the rumor that Sony might be buying Take-Two. Not true. Like we kind of speculated.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Okay. Yeah, because we talked about Borderlands 3. We had a really good. When I was editing the podcast, I was like, we had a really good conversation about Borderlands 3, actually.
Yeah, I wanted to tweet it, but I never got around to it. But like, I liked our discussion. I liked the OKB's discussion because like there were a bunch of people who actually did play Borderlands. So like,
excited?
oh yeah, they're jazzed for it. And like they were talking about like because they didn't bring up like microtransactions at all. They were just talking about the game itself and like just comparing it like Ian didn't really want it to be like a Destiny like, and like Blessing thinking that's like the next step for Borderlands to go. So
Yeah.
just like thoughts and feelings about it.
Yeah, but is he gonna be in for Borderlands 4?
That's the real question. They're not
That's
asking
the real question.
They're not asking the good questions, Nabashin. Shout out to OKB's podcast. If you don't listen to it, you should. It's a very good show. That's it for news. We did news first. How about you guys?
Epic Game Store.
Yeah.
They're getting the Outer Worlds as an exclusive.
Really?
Yes, for a year.
God damn. Here's a big thing for me from the Stadia thing. Like Epic Game Store is like really setting itself up as a competitor to the thing that it is doing. And this is, I guess, a little bit to your point, Nabashin, where I feel like Stadia wasn't making any of those moves. Like Epic Game Store has been out there saying like, hey, you can do early access here. We're going to give you more money. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And Stadia they didn't take a goddamn stance on anything. They just full on Aaron Bird for my Hamilton fans out there. Like they just, I don't know, they set up a lot and they didn't really deliver anything. They didn't give you a reason to be on their platform outside of like, I guess the real reasoning that they didn't even really talk about was like, hey, with all of how this platform works, you can get all this data, as Google is ought to do, mining data from consumers, but you can get all this data about your game and make it better. And you can watch this save state anytime. You can just pull this up, watch that, watch how a player does this, and have like a record of that you can reference at any time, right? Like those are the tools for developers, but like I feel like they weren't even touting that, and that was the place that they should be touting that, or at least be touting it more.
Yeah,
it was just Rich Gallup's perspective on the Giant Bombcast that gave me that perspective, and it was like, okay, like that's actually really valuable, and I would see why that would be useful to game developers. And Epic has like very plainly laid their kind of intentions on their sleeve with how they are better for the developer, for the publisher than Steam, their direct competitor. So I don't know.
Yeah, and like it's paying off for them.
It's really paying off
to the point, like to the point that it's almost being a real disadvantage to their consumers. But like it's like, you know, because that's because like the Epic Game Store is where it needs to be as far as like being, like the functionality is what Steam has, obviously, but like it'll get there eventually, but it's not there now. It just makes you wonder is like why didn't Stadia try to like say something like what's the benefit for Yacht Club Games to put the next game on their system over something like an Epic Game Store or even
a Switch.
PS4 or Switch?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, and you know, for better and for worse, Epic Games is throwing all of those things around there and locking down exclusives and giving people deals. But you know, it's not always a good thing. It's just they seem to be making moves and really trying to make a dent on a platform that is like severely monopolized by Steam. So like, I would have liked to hear that kind of pitch from Google. But I don't know. They just felt really disconnected from the actual issues happening in video games.
I'm not versed on this at all, but like with Good Old Games, did that just launch to Steam or something, or is that just that's an executable, or
Good Old Games is like
what's the difference between that and like Discord and like all these other launchers that you have for and like why is Epic's one just like different. I guess.
GOG's thing is no DRM, which is kind of like what Humble's thing is as well. Which is it's weird. So like I feel like they came around the same time. Humble still has their bundle stuff and the Humble monthly bundle. So like you subscribe to that and you get something every month.
But doesn't that still like attach to Steam though?
You can't. You get a Steam code and a downloadable file.
Okay.
So you get both, and maybe that's that Humble thing. I think GOG is the same way too. But yeah, their whole thing is DRM free, and Steam is DRM. So, yeah, I don't know. Like Itch.io is obviously another thing of like DRM free, but also like, hey, throw your weird student project game up here, and you can sell it, and you can make money off of it. And then there's Green Man Gaming, which is like buying Russian codes and selling them at a lower cost. So, you got the good and the bad there. I wonder how sustainable GOG and Humble are. I assume they're both doing fine.
It would have to be, right?
Yeah. Or else they would have faded off. I think Good Old Games' problem, more so now, is their social media. So, that is a whole other issue that they'll have to figure out.
Like this Epic Game Store thing is like this, like it's so interesting to me because like obviously there's a need for that, and like I feel that, but it's like at the same time like a year exclusive is crazy to me for a PC game. Yeah. For that platform.
You know what people are doing instead?
What?
Pirating, probably.
They're using it as that extra excuse to do rampant pirating.
Yeah.
Like, worse than it's been before.
Yeah, and I think, like, I don't know. It's...
Because, like when I think about, like when Guacamelee 2 came on PS4, like, when it eventually went to other platforms, that's, like, maybe 3 months. And I think 3 months is, like, understandable for, like, something like a deal. For like like to have like advertising rights or whatever like that, but like a whole year on like the same console is that's insane.
For a game like that weight I feel is less of hey we signed an exclusive deal. It's in more of hey we want to make this port good, so let's not rush it.
Like the Hollow Knight developers, they did a great when they announced Silksong, the Hollow Knight sequel. They like said like, hey, we're launching on PC and Switch. No reason it's not coming to Xbox One and PS4 right now. The only real reason is like there's 3 of us, and we want to get it on one thing that has done really well for us, which is the Switch. We just don't have the bandwidth to do the other platforms at the same time. If we would, we could, Mm-hmm. And the intent very much they couldn't say because they have to work that stuff out, but the intent there very much seemed like, hey, we're going to put it on Xbox One and PS4 just like before. Afterwards, it's probably just going to take a little while. So like I think to your point, Scott, like that happens a lot, but also like The Messenger just came out on PS4, came out a year ago on Switch. That was an exclusivity thing as far as I know.
Yeah, not even like a year ago. That was like what?
It was March of last year.
Was it really?
Yeah, because it was. Oh no, it was August. You're right. Yeah. Because for me, it was like I was going to PAX.
Right.
But I was going to PAX West. So yeah, it was a little under a year. Still not announced for Xbox One. I don't know if it's going to go there. And what was another example? I mean, like.
Well, I was more or less referring to the shorter wait times, rather than in on a general basis.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even then again, to Nobson's point, when you do a exclusivity deal, the bar is generally set for 6 months.
Yeah, I feel like at least. I feel like 6 months or a year.
I don't think I've heard of a year before.
Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Years are like
I don't.
Yeah,
really listen
a console thing.
Yeah, I mean, but it's the closest comparison I got. That was like Xbox and then PC and PS4 later.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it did come out on PC when it came out on Xbox One, right? Maybe not.
No, that got delayed a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. The Epic Games stuff is like weird though.
I think the biggest problem with it, honestly, is a lack of communication. Mm-hmm. And the communication from the developer by saying like the reasons why they're doing it, and why it benefits them and how it can benefit their customers, if there is a benefit, which it doesn't seem like there really is more
Well,
benefiting
that's the
them.
thing. There's no visible benefit to their customers other than the immediate money that the Epic Games provide to them might allow them to get a jump start on the DLC if
Yeah.
that was a plan to do in the first place.
Yeah.
Then they should say that.
Yeah, they should say
But
that.
that's the thing. That's developer to developer to say something. But I feel like if that were on the table, that would be the first thing out of the gate to come out.
Mm-hmm. I also like
that would be a part of the deal.
there are instances where like there is a quote unquote benefit, right? Like when Metro went to Epic Game Store, it was $10 less on Epic Game Store than it was Steam. It was $49 instead of $59. But that's like, the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, that's why there needs to be like a give here, I think, and and the give might just be fucking Steam just lowering, like being fair to developers and giving them more of a percentage of it.
Maybe.
But like if we're going to like put these games, well, I don't know why I'm talking like I'm
so angry. Fuck, man. You're gonna get your shit together.
No, I don't know why I'm talking like I'm actually a customer on this platform or something like that. But it seems like there should be some fairness about it. I think maybe be $10 cheaper on Epic Games Store rather than on Steam, and maybe you can launch it both at the same time, and then do something like that. I just feel like there's need to be something that caters to both camps.
To me, most of the stuff that's happened is, oh, hey, you committed to both platforms, so you then convinced people to pay money and charging fees, because that's what's happening, and then they don't get a full refund. Sure, it's a couple of cents, but it still kind of sucks.
My big thing, I guess, my hang up where it's rubbing me the wrong way right now is how quickly the shifts are happening, right? Division 2 became an Epic Games exclusive, I feel like a month before that game came out, right? Obviously the Metro situation was a huge kerfuffle, but on top of that, the few shipped boxes for the PC version of Metro, if you look on the back where it says includes Epic Games key, it's a sticker you could peel off, and it said includes Steam key under it. It's clear this literally came together in 2 weeks probably. And why would you swing that? Why would you risk that? That's very specific to the Metro case, I guess, but I don't know. That's weird.
I just something like Metro seemed like it could have been a lot more bigger. Not that much bigger, obviously, but it could have been. I feel like a bigger deal if it were released on both places at the same time rather than just on one thing.
Yeah, especially when they were canceling people's pre-orders. So, yeah, I'm with you. Let's take a break.
Yep.
We finish up some news. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about video games.
Woo!
And then we're going to answer some questions, listen to a voicemail from Silver PR that I'm very excited to hear. Make some bets and throw it out. So we'll be back in just a little bit. Hey, welcome back.
Hello.
Hello. You guys want to talk about video games?
Yes.
I don't have like a fun music thing to play for video games. Did anybody else play Sekiro?
Not yet. I want to.
I know you do.
I bought it, didn't play a second of it.
Okay, Scott.
Not yet. No.
Okay.
Don't have it yet.
Real quick, I want to talk about Sekiro. I really like. I have other games written on here. There's only one other one I want to talk about. So I want to throw this out here first. So I did not end up playing a lot of Sekiro. I played it Thursday night when it released at midnight. With me like at 9:30 p.m. Just this is only for you, Nabishin, but watching the Digital Foundry breakdown of like, is the PS4 version good enough so that I don't have to play this game on an Xbox controller? It's a legitimate internal conflict I was having. Turns out there is a little bit of a difference, but it's fine. But yeah, I just like the R1, L1 on Xbox controllers. I can't fight on those things. But yeah, I played probably 2.5 hours of Sekiro. So not a lot. I got through the tutorial. I think I've pretty much been introduced to most of the major early mechanics. Like I got to resurrect at some point. But I haven't spent a lot of time with it, so it's hard for me to tell you what's really special about it. But I've seen a lot of thoughts out there. But my first impression is very, very positive. I'm really surprised, I guess, at how it is really weird because, like, the way it feels, it is so reminiscent of like your Blood Souls or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, it is just kind of From Software's DNA, but it is so different. Like I press the X button to jump is just such a weird thing in one of those kinds of games, or quote unquote one of those kinds of games. Being able to kind of like wall climb to some extent, to shimmy around corners, to jump, like to grappling hook, to be so vertical, to be able to stealth, like hide in bushes and sneak up on enemies and kill them. It is so different, right? Like all of those things are things that you could never do in, say, Dark Souls 3, but I'm still pressing R1 to attack. I'm pressing L1 to counter and guard. There is like some of that DNA there. I'm pressing circle to dodge, and I'm holding it to run. It's obtuse in weird ways. It is a lot more, I would say, straightforward than other games that From Software have done recently. Like, it is the most tutorial I have ever seen in a From Software game. It tells you what things do. You can pause this game also. Fun fact. Which it's funny.
That's cheating.
Yeah, it is cheating. I don't know. Was it you, Nabishin, that I talked about this with? Or is it somebody else? Of like, when I was playing the Division 2, I had this internal realization that pausing is done. Does this sound familiar at all?
Oh.
When I was playing the Division 2, I think it was Scott White, because I was streaming with him. It might have been Jacob Bryant. It was somebody I played that game with. But you can't pause in that game. And I had this real genuine moment of like, man, if I flashed back 10 years, like I took my like 16-year-old self and plucked him into the future and showed him modern video games, I feel like the one thing I would have thought would still be in video games probably is being able to pause games. But that's like the one thing that's kind of gone. And I'm kind of a little bummed out about sometimes. I think there's like a place for it and a place against it. But obviously, like Bloodborne, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Demon Souls, none of those games you can pause in. You can pause in Sekiro. It's just it's very weird. But yeah, it's got a more of a straightforward story. I'm playing it in English just to be contrarian. But voice acting is very good. I've heard it's like defaults to Japanese and.
Hold on, let's rephrase that for a second.
Yeah.
You're playing in English because you're a monster.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair actually. it defaults to Japanese. The first thing that pops up when you go to the start screen is like the default language for this game is Japanese. I don't know why it pops up. I don't know why it has to tell you that.
Creator's intent.
Creator's intent. I'm ruining the intent. I was just honestly really curious what the English VO sounded like. It's
Now
fine.
you know. Time to switch back.
Yeah, I should probably switch back. I've been thinking about it. But it's like it is a straightforward story, right? Like it's beautiful. Like this opening cutscene is like incredible looking. Also, reminding me a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima. I got those vibes. But yeah, you're this shinobi, a ninja, if I may. That is like loyal to this young man, like I would say maybe 10 or 12. He was kidnapped, and you have to rescue him. That is like the general setup. I won't necessarily get too into it, but it is like, your character has a name, has an appearance. He looks like he does. You can't make a troglodyte or whatever you want to make. It is no monster factory of create a character, but his name is Wolf, which I get a lot of Witcher vibes from it. And he has relationships.
He's not named Roach. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
It's true. I don't know if there's a mount, but if there is, I'm naming him Roach. There's like a lot of characters. Like he has relationships with characters to some extent. You build rapport with them. He'll talk, right? He has spoken dialogue. So it is, I would say like maybe it's off base, but I would compare it to a character action game like a Devil May Cry more than I would a Dark Souls, at least in it is like more straightforward in how it's presented it to you. But once the game starts and like you get through the tutorial area and you're thrown back into like your hub area that you're introduced to, this like old temple, very much Firelink Shrine vibes. You meet people along your journey. You send them back here. Super, super good vibes from that. There are people there that you talk to upgrade certain things and you give them currencies. But you just kind of go, like, you just have to figure out where to go. Like it is like at the very end of the tutorial where you're like, I have no idea where to go. It's like, we're not going to tell you. And it's like, okay, there's still this here. There's still like this. I've got to figure it out. I've got to kind of lead my own path. I have to be proactive. I can, there are checkpoints and the path so far is relatively linear, but it's not guiding you all the way. Other big changes here, like there's no leveling. You are not dunking currency into stats. It seems like there are these rare items called like some like pieces of a necklace that you can then make like a rosary, and that will like level up your damage and level up your health. So like there are big levels, but you are collecting items in order to do that. The experience that you gain, you are putting towards skill trees of actual different moves and different kind of levels that you get in those. When you die, you have the option to resurrect. Basically, you have like these two bubbles by your health bar. You can consume one to resurrect. You get one of the bubbles back every time you rest at a bonfire equivalent, which are like these little Buddha shrines. You get the other one back by killing enemies. So in theory, you can resurrect twice. You can be a shadow that dies twice in any given run until you kind of build your meters back up. If you die, as in you die for real, you lose half your experience.
You also die in the game in that case.
You actually die for real. If you die for real, you die in the game. You lose half your experience and you lose half your money. No blood spray drop.
Blood spray.
No blood spray. No blood stain. No getting souls back. That's all gone. None of that's here. But again, I'm only comparing it to Dark Souls so much because it feels like they use that as a base and then just gutted it and put something totally new in its place.
Oh god, no. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought about something I didn't want to say it.
Okay.
It's the most obvious thing to say, and I just
yeah. No, I want to hear it now because I feel like I know what it might be.
Would you say it's like the Dark Souls of samurai games or something?
No, that's Neo, dude.
Yeah, it's no Neo. Come on, dude. Honestly, like Neo is more Dark Souls than this game because like you have the bloodstained stuff. You can summon allies, things like that. So yeah, like I feel bad comparing it to your Soulsborns, but I'm just using that as a point for people who are like, I like From Software games because those are the kinds of games they make. Would I like this? Here is the facts. Here is the information. It feels great. It runs great. The combat is paced very differently because it's all about breaking poise, right? You're building a meter on an enemy to eventually break his poise and do a killing blow. And then on bosses, it's a matter of they have like red bubbles next to their health, or next to their poise meter, I should say, that indicates the number of times you need to break their poise and do a killing blow on them. Those killing blows you can do by sneaking up on enemies. So there are other options, right? You could stealth your way into a situation, kill an enemy immediately, and just run away. And then, they have like little stealth indicators that will let you know if they're following you or pursuing you or looking for you. And you could, hide in some bushes and then come back later and fight them and sneak up on them again. Like, it is, I guess, like all what the kids are saying. It's like Tenchu. I've never played Tenchu, but it seems to be the comparison. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really into it. It's very hard. It is like it's firm but fair. It is. You have just a lot less at your disposal than another given From Software game. So you have a lot less heals. You don't have a shield. You're not switching weapons. You're just kind of, you have to play by these rules, and you have to get good at them because you will get brutally punished if you're not. Like, there's this giant rooster enemy that is like incredibly dangerous, and I was like, I could fuck up this rooster, and it just like starts flapping and attacking at me, and it's like I'm killing me, and it's like, man, okay, I can't fuck up this rooster. I got to be careful with everything. Some weird things that I noticed, I just want to point out, like if you fall off a cliff, you don't die instantly because of the way the resurrect mechanic works. So if you fall off a cliff, it fades to black, and then you come back on the side of the cliff, kind of like old school Zelda games, and you can swim, whereas water would instantly murder you in any other From Software game. So it seems brutal. It seems like everyone's talking about how hard it is. You gotta learn the system, and you gotta play by the rules. But
yeah, you can't just over level the area.
Exactly. That's
get good or go home.
Get good or go home.
Already at your home. Get out of your house. Don't belong there anymore.
You don't belong here. If you can't finish Sekiro, don't even talk to me. But yeah, I like it a lot though. It's giving me great vibes. It's a little frustrating, but by the time I was done with my kind of play session with it, I'd eased into the mechanics a little bit more. I understood it a bit more. The only other game that I played that I wanted to talk about was Apex Legends, just because the Battle Pass came out this week.
Is that any good? The Battle Pass, I mean?
I'm not sure, right? Like, I've never done the Battle Pass thing before, so it's all new to me. They talked about it on the Bombcast of like how there's no like quests in this Battle Pass, and I guess that is like the biggest criticism of it. Fortnite was I had not used the Fortnite Battle Pass, but I had seen that stuff of like their quests are like land in tilted towers 5 times this season. It's like, okay, cool. Like, it gets you to play.
Be like, find the llama or whatever, and there's a giant fucking llama on the map somewhere you have to find.
Mm-hmm. It's cool because it gets you to play that game in a different way. As far as I know, there's no like quest equivalent in Apex, so that's a bit of a bummer. But you're getting your normal levels towards your level loot box, every level loot box or whatever, and then you're getting Battle Pass levels as you play. So you're getting experience every match, and it's going toward that. And every level of the Battle Pass, you get like a loot box or a skin or something, or currency or something like that. So the idea is you build that up to level 100 of the Battle Pass, which you only have the season to do, and you get something special for finishing the Battle Pass levels. I don't know if I will do that, but I was like, I really like Apex. I have a great time with this game. I'm going to continue playing this game frequently with friends, so I'll get the Battle Pass. I'll give it a shot and see what it's like. So far, so good. Tony, have you played any this week, Scott? Or
I honestly haven't played Apex Legends in a while.
Okay.
Just busy doing other shit.
Yeah, you're good. I mean, comes and goes. It'll be
Yeah.
there. They added a new character. His name is Octane. I have not played him. He seems cool, I guess.
I don't know if I played this week or last week. All I know is that we went until we won.
Good policy.
It was like
Scott.
3 games.
Hell yeah. I have, anytime I've played with friends, I've never won. Except for once. The first one I got with Blessing from Rookie Beast and Andrew Taylor. So that was my first victory and it never came again. But I'll win with randos like all fucking night. I had like a night on Xbox where I won twice in a row with randos. I was like, okay, fuck my friends, I guess. Let these randos carry me to the ends of the earth. So maybe I'll win again someday. But yeah, I played a bunch of other stuff, but I didn't put a lot of time into any of them. Like I played a little bit more Division 2 this week, but I was like, I don't know, I was in a funk all week, so I just couldn't stay on a video game for like longer than an hour. I don't know if y'all know what that's like, but for me it's really frustrating. I like to kind of settle into something. So jumping around all the time, I was like,
It depends. I think it's nice when you got a good line of roguelikes and a small story I'm trying to get through.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I think like when I have like 2 big games that I'm kind of going back and forth between, I like that. It's just like trying to find what my next thing's going to be. But Sekiro is here, and I'm upset that I didn't play it last night when I tried to go to bed early, and then I didn't go to sleep for 4 hours. And then I was going to play before we recorded today just to have a little bit more time with it. But I like had a shitty day, so like I went out and got a drink with my roommate, and that was good. That was the right call, but I didn't get the chance to play anymore. So I'm just gonna sit down and play it all of tomorrow, and just savor it. But yeah, I put a lot of time into ukulele, which I bought for Switch, but my thoughts are developing on that. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. Nabishin.
Yes.
Video games.
I didn't play anything.
You didn't play anything this week?
No, dude. Work.
Have you finished Devil May Cry yet?
I did finish it.
Okay. I feel like, had you finished it last week?
I believe I did.
Okay. I don't know if we talked about that specifically. Best Devil May Cry, what did you say?
Oh, hands down.
I watched Maximilian Dude's conversation about it. It was really good. His little dialogue about it. He got the subscribe for me. I rang that bell. I didn't ring the bell. I don't ring the bell for anybody. I ring the bell. You don't ring the bell.
I don't talk to no bell ringers.
Exactly. But yeah, that was a really great breakdown. Is that like, I guess, where you're at?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, because you tweeted it out, but cool. I mean, hey, Sekiro is waiting for you, bud. I was really excited when you said you were getting it. I didn't know if you would. So
yeah, I still plan on. Like, it's so weird. Like I don't know what I'm really feeling about it. Like obviously I know it's a game that I believe I'll enjoy because like I enjoy the other Bloodborne. Well, I haven't played any other Souls games really, but like but I enjoy Bloodborne like a lot. I haven't beaten it or anything like that, but like I enjoyed it a lot. But like it's always like a thing that like I piggyback off of like after watching other people play it. Like Max is playing it now, and like Aaron just started playing it on Game Grumps. So like,
I didn't miss that. Excellent.
So like I'll probably just like wait a few weeks and like see how they're getting through it, so I can just like go through it myself. Because like I don't know, like I enjoy those games more when like I see what I need to do more than like figuring it out. And no, I know that's like travesty, like how you're supposed to play those games, but like that's how I enjoy them. So
yeah, I don't know, like play games however you want to play.
I mean, it's not the thing to figure out in those games is the story more than anything else.
Yeah,
to be perfectly honest, the big trouble that people have in figuring those games out is simply getting through them because they run.
Yeah,
like that's the biggest thing. Is it's a lot of sections don't give you the time to sit down and say, "Oh, hey, this is where I have to go now." They don't allow you to actually reach that dead end without dying a bunch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I like that aspect of those games. Like, especially like big one for me was Dark Souls 2 because I like that from the start of that game you kind of have like 6 paths you have to go down pretty much, or like it's probably less than that. It's probably like 4. And like having all these options, not really knowing where to go next, and like trying this, coming back, be like, oh, that's too hard. Trying this, like, okay, this is a little bit more my level. Finishing it, hitting an end, it's like, oh, now I get to go back and try a different path. Like I like that kind of stuff. Dark Souls 1 really got me with that. 2 got me with that. 3 being a little bit more linear was a little less.
And like
less
in
of that
2,
for
I
me.
went down the wrong path.
Yeah, but
I just went the wrong way, and that's how I beat that game.
But you made it happen, right?
But I made it happen. So
Yeah.
like what I'm telling you is you're not missing out on anything.
Yeah, just
All right.
play the game. You know,
Like it's like that is the game where it is fair to do that on. Although this might be the game where you might not want to do that on.
Yeah.
This is more like it. Think about if you did that for Devil May Cry, because you just made the comparison.
All right.
It not exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. Consider they're like levels and stages.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But
there are levels and stages, right? Like you missions, right? That is how.
But it's like I can't as cleanly say specifically for this game that's the case, because it was the case for Bloodborne. It was the case for every Souls game before that.
Yeah, but Sekiro seems different. So
it's like even in Demon Souls, you didn't have to go through that first level, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have walked towards any of them, and you would have been fine.
Yeah, but fuck those other ones. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, but
man, I really hope Blue Hole's remaking Demon
well,
Souls.
no, you got a point there.
Yeah.
When I think about it, you got a point there.
Yeah. Speaking of you, Scott, video games. Did you play anything this week?
I got 3. Beat Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
I mean, we expect it.
Yeah.
Should we talk about it later? I
then-
mean, we can do it right now because it's at the end, and it's like the final thoughts. He said everything he wanted to say.
Like without spoiling anything, then let's just talk about it.
Well, okay. So final thoughts
Yeah.
is that last part that I missed
Mm-hmm.
washes most of everything else it does wrong away.
Really?
Yes.
Wow,
That's a good feeling.
Well, like think about it. If you think about all the complaints,
Mhm.
it didn't have any of that in it.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's kind of the only challenging fight in the game,
Yeah. It's a good fight.
but it was there.
Yeah, that the one where you're in like the kind of city-ish area, it's very cool for me. Love the aesthetic.
It's the whole way through,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like the Xehanort fight at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, I recognize the name Xehanort.
Xehanort. Yeah, we've
And
officially
it's
ruined
not
you,
like
Tony.
That Barry
any
fucking
part of that
video.
is fake. It's like, oh boy, I'm finally dying to a mechanic instead of not paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. How do you feel about Kingdom Hearts 3 overall? Unless if you want to say something.
Story bits, the story bits, the important parts of the story bits from before all came together very, very nicely.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, well, we can get into some of the nitty gritty later.
Ooh, actually, I do want to talk about the secret ending with you later, Scott.
Okay.
Because we had talked about a thing that is referenced in that secret ending, like 3 weeks ago. It was the Van Aken podcast. You had ducked out early in Abishin, but we talked about something, and I want to revisit it now that you finished Kingdom Hearts 3 because I was like I shouldn't say anything here.
Okay. So we'll talk more about it later.
Okay.
And then I kind of played FTL.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So this was an odd playthrough because I wasn't actually the one playing. I was just kind of directing somebody else out of bad decision.
Okay, cool. Who were you playing with?
So it was Jay.
Okay.
He picked up the game. He'd watched a bunch of people play it before, so we kind of knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But he still, but he was still asking me questions. So I said, "Hold on a second. Can you
Screen share.
screen share this?" So that is what we did.
That's fun. That's good vibes. Did he beat it?
Yes. His
Nice.
first run, he died on his first encounter. Straight up.
Hell yeah.
And then he was like super upset.
Yeah.
So I linked him that the one control at the leak comic where he just the entire joke is when one of the players starts up the game, the first thing they do is open what is it? They open the doors to jettison everybody off the ship.
Yep. Let him die.
And then he just says, it gets me the same result. It's just a lot less frustrating this way. And he had a good laugh at it.
I remember that comic. It's very good.
So yeah, no, he ended up getting one of the luckiest runs that I've ever seen.
Okay.
He got the 3 most powerful modules fairly early, which is teleporting, cloaking, and drones.
Okay. That is a good combo.
So yeah, and essentially how you and then for weapons, he got essentially a bunch of shield bursters and a halberd beam.
Okay.
Which is that one weapon that can do 5 damage. Sorry, not 5, 10 damage to a ship because you can hit 5 rooms at a time.
I don't think I've ever gotten that weapon. I want you to know. I've heard about it. I've seen people with playthroughs with it.
It's a sweep and beam. You put a line down on the enemy ship, and it does 2 damage per room it hits.
Jesus Christ.
Yep, and then you can one of the damage will even penetrate through shields.
Jeez.
And do 1 damage instead. So you can hit a lot less rooms, but there's ships that you can hit 10 damage a ship on, and then that's essentially a one shot.
Yep.
And fairly late into the game too.
Yeah. That's
so
good.
he had that. The 2 mantises for boarding, a mantis for defense, 2 Zoltans for extra energy. So through the entire game, he was getting crew kills instead of regular kills.
Nice.
Which just made him that much more powerful, so he could max everything out.
Was he playing on
all that shit?
Oh, somebody's phone just went off. Was he playing on easy or normal?
He was playing on easy.
Okay.
So yeah, the scrap mean was much higher than normal too.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got to the final flagship battle, he kind of destroyed it, but at the same time, if the fight had gone on for another 20 seconds, he'd have lost.
Yeah, but to be fair, that's the flagship battle every time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he could have played a bunch of the stuff a bit better. He also got super unlucky. Well, at first it looked like he got extremely lucky again. But the flagship jumped right on top of one of the repairs as he was going to it.
Yeah.
And then the other one got flagged out. And then the flagship jumped on top of the base before he could get there.
Jeez.
As it was escaping him a second time.
Wow.
And so I was like, what the fuck?
But he did it. That's cool. That's a fun way to play that game. What else?
But yeah. Then I went ahead and I tried out the Wizard of Legend thing. Now earlier I said I wasn't able to get to the Wind Temple because I just had bad RNG.
Yeah.
I played 8 games.
Yeah.
And it either wasn't there or I was just too rusty at the game to get to the 3rd level because that's where it spawned. But before bonus content happened, I was playing. And it was the first place that it dropped me into.
Hell yeah.
So yeah.
Did you
So
get
let's
to
talk about it.
Did you get to play much of it? What did you think?
It's cool.
What is it? What does it add exactly?
I immediately hate it.
Great. A Scott Guthier story. It was cool, and I immediately hate it.
So as well, like think about it. You got to be real careful with your health in that game.
Yeah,
Like, have you played it? I forget.
I've not played it. I've watched a lot of people play it though.
Okay, so you know how all the ninjas and the rogues are a bit tough in every area, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but these guys have homing shurikens.
Ugh. Is that
Right.
That's what wind magic does. It makes things home in on you.
Almost. And then like it gets worse. You know what also appears there?
What?
Armored cyclopses.
Not fun.
So you're probably thinking of the stone guys that smash you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. There's new versions of those called shadow monsters, but no, these guys they shoot beams out of their eyes.
Hell
They
yeah,
look way
dude.
different.
Sounds like it's time to get
So
good.
you know the water fight?
No, I don't know the water fight though.
The ice lady fight.
Yeah,
Boss fight.
the
You know how
boss
she
of that
does
one.
the beam and it's annoying?
Yeah.
Most people just get hit by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so get 2 of those cyclopses spawning on each side of the room and there you go. You got a boss attack first thing.
Jesus Christ. So it
And
sounds.
it's like they fire it super quick too.
Does it add like new abilities for you though to combat all of this
That I'm getting into that.
getting wrecked?
The first thing I noticed, other than a spell that I've never seen before come up as a signature spell, is you can now pick up cursed items as relics.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you can use those. I haven't actually bought them yet, so don't know for sure. But I believe you can use a cursed relic as a starting item instead of one of the regular ones.
Okay, that's cool.
They added a couple new outfits. The outfit guy no longer sucks. He no longer drops 100 HP and takes 125 gold
Okay.
to upgrade your suit. It's just 100 gold. So it is no longer just a bad idea.
Okay.
Because before it was just a bad idea.
Yeah, you had talked about it. It was a while ago you talked about that though. But now
I think I tried to defend it before, as in there's ways you can make it useful, like when you're already at 50 HP
mm-hmm.
and they can't kill you with it, so
Yeah.
like you're not actually making it cost anything in HP.
I do remember this.
But even then it was rough because that's 50 HP you don't have as you're going forward.
Okay. But
And
now
the cost is gone. Now it's a worthwhile lucky upgrade.
okay, now it's a valid way to spend that money too.
Right.
Any other new things jump out to you?
As far as new things, I'm trying to think.
It's the Sky Palace expansion for
yes,
which should be out on all platforms now. Does it add like I don't know if there was like wind magic in there before as like a type of magic.
Oh yeah, it's wind and lightning magic are already in there. They
Yeah.
just added the wind temple,
Okay.
and the lightning should be next.
Okay, cool. Do you still have to
So-
go to so before you had to go to like all 3?
You have to go through 3, and now one of them is going to be missing.
Okay. Interesting.
That's why I said my RNG was bad.
Got it. Okay.
When I went in, there was just no wind temple there.
Yeah. That's cool that you can see totally different things on playthroughs though.
Mm-hmm. And the zone's really cool too. You're just in the sky,
Yeah, of course.
and then instead of it being, instead of the pits being like a pit with spikes, lava, or whatever, it's you're in the sky. The pit is you falling out of the sky.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that contextualization though.
Yeah, and it's weird when you're trying to move around in it because it feels like you can kind of move out of bounds even though you absolutely can't.
Yeah. Is that even playing?
Yeah.
We'll get a little Kingdom Hearts spoilers later on in the show. Tony, what about you, bud?
All Path of Exile, and that's it.
Just Path of Exile? What level are you in Path of Exile now?
91.
You were what, like 57 last week, I think?
Yeah, something like that.
91. How do you feel like an all-powerful god?
I have okay, first of all, Path of Exile has this weird fascination with calling money currency. Like that's how it's referred to, and the entire community seems to have embraced it. So whenever anyone refers to the economy of the game or like needing to get more money, they say, "I need to collect more currency."
Yeah.
And it's fucking weird.
It is kind of culty.
It's strange, like to say and to think about, because like now that I'm kind of like in the Path of Exile space, I'm always thinking like, man, I need some more currency, and it's fucking weird.
They're getting to you, man. The fucking brainworms.
Yeah. But I mean, from all the people who I'm playing with, I've gotten some pretty lucky drops. They all call me RNG carried, but it's also just because I've been playing a bit more than everyone else. I think I've had more opportunity to be RNG carried than they have.
And you pray to RNGs this every
Oh
day,
yeah,
so.
yeah. I sacrifice children. Yeah.
Pitch black.
Yeah.
Of course.
But yeah, so everyone else who I'm playing
legal
with,
when he has a license for it.
Yeah,
exactly. I have a child sacrifice license.
It's legal. It's all above board.
Yeah. I have a permit. I applied at the altar. There's like, all right, pay the membership fee. You can donate 5 quarts of blood per semester. They call it semesters.
Semesters again. It's the currency
it's
thing
fucking
again.
weird. It's weird. But anyway, so of all the people I'm playing with, the second most currency that someone has accrued so far is probably like 4 exalts. I've made like 12.
Damn, that's 3 times as many.
Yeah, so my build is significantly more like panned out than anyone else who I'm playing with. I'm at the point where I'm making like endgame multi-mod crafted shit, which is like max rolled, max level shaper shit, which is really, really expensive to make.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the middle of, like, I finished one this morning, and I'm like almost done with the second one. It's like shit that like in Path, the crafting system, it's like it's fun for a while, except if you fail a lot, then it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Because like to make these specific weapons, you have to buy or get dropped a level 86 or higher base weapon that's shaped. Shaped is a certain mod that you get from running a certain map in the Atlas, which is endgame content, that is influenced by the Shaper. They're not always influenced by the Shaper, but there's Shaper and Elder influence that moves around the Atlas, and you have to clear the maps. If you clear a map that is monster level 84 or higher, that is Shaper influence, it is a chance to drop one of these items. If it's a regular mob, it'll drop 1 level higher than the monster level. If it's like the boss, it'll drop 2 levels higher. So it's pretty rare to get these bases, so they're kind of expensive. So you need to get the right one at the right level, and then you use you have to scour it, which is a certain currency that removes all modifiers from it. So you just keep the implicit modifier, which is like a 1 strong modifier that is basically what defines the item. Then you upgrade it to rare, which gives it 1 or 2 mods, and then you can use an Orb of Alteration to re-roll those 2 mods into 1 or 2 different mods, or the same mods with either the same or different percentages or range of damage or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So to make these weapons, I was rolling for a very specific rare modifier, and I needed it to be by itself because of the way that I need to craft it later on. I needed it. Basically I need to end up with a rare weapon with only this 1 modifier on it. So to do that, you spam literally thousands of Orbs of Alteration into these weapons until you roll. In my case, it was specifically elemental damage, gain a percentage of elemental damage as chaos damage. So chaos damage is like, monsters don't really have chaos resistance, so that damage is much more effective than normal damage would be. And if you gain 20% of your damage as chaos damage, it doesn't take it away from your regular damage. So you just basically gain 20% damage that is not affected by the whatever you're killing's resistance to your certain spectra of damage. So it's really powerful.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So basically you need to spend on the first one I got really lucky. On the second one it was hell. Like I rolled literally like 4,000 orbs of alteration into this thing in my attempts to get this thing right. Because what has to happen is I have to roll that, and if I roll a good percentage, as in like either 19% or 20%, anything lower is garbage. Then if it rolled by itself, great. You can move on to the next step. If it didn't, you have to go and buy this thing called an orb of an orb of annulment, which is like 22 chaos, which is like a quarter of an exalt, which is a lot of money. And what it does is it removes a modifier from something at random. Can we lose somebody?
Now I'm just gonna drop out.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He's going to bed.
He does like I'm boring him with that talk. I get it.
No, it's 10:30 at night. That's I think more the reason.
Nonsense. So anyway, so you use this really expensive crafting material to remove a mod at random. And I got very unlucky. I ended up going through 14 of these things to get my second weapon done because I would roll like a good percentage and then some random other thing, and then use an orb of annulment on it, and it would erase my good modifier. So I'd just be left with like the weapon with some shit modifier on it that I wanted to get. So anyway, assuming that you get like the right one off, so you have a rare item with just what you want, then you need to upgrade it to rare using a regal orb, which is not as expensive as an orb of annulment, but it's about like a chaos worth of enchantment material. So you upgrade that to rare, and that puts 1 or 2 more modifiers on it because rare items just come with more prefixes or suffixes. So then you need to basically, now that you've got that, you've got a thing with either 2 or 3 things, and you need to annul off everything else that you just put on, so that it's rare quality but only has that one. So basically, you need to pass these 50% checks over and over again to get them right after you've spent, a couple hundred to 1,000 alterations on it to get what you want in the first place.
Jeez.
And so after all that happens, then you've got 2 weapons, which this cost me probably like 6 exalteds to get like my 2 weapon bases done. Which was insane. Like it was like 3 full days of just farming and then spending all that money on materials and then failing over and over again. Felt like I was playing BDO.
Hell yeah, dude. You loved it.
So after all that happened, then luckily I don't have to farm for the enchantments because there's a really nice guy on the Path forum who basically people donate to him materials to like research the enchantments basically. So he has all of the highest level enchantments, and he just does them for free if you give him the materials for it. Which where normally people would charge like a fee, like, hey, pay me 30 chaos and I'll put this enchantment on you. And he's really high like reputation, so he's not going to steal your item or whatever. So I contacted that guy, and the enchantments that I had to put on it themselves cost me another 4x per weapon. So I'm halfway done. I've got 1 weapon done, the other one's sitting at ready to be enchanted, and I'm farming up more currency to afford putting those enchantments on. But it's been a fucking odyssey to get that shit like done.
Yeah.
And that's only like for the weapon slots, and then there's armor to consider. Like you have to get a good 6-link armor piece. That was the first thing that I really ended up working. And just et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
like the gearing in the game is insane.
This is your shit, though. I know you love this.
Yeah, like min-maxing and trying to get the right shit on the weapons and kind of like, using the systems the game has in place to do it. Especially when like all of the crafting materials are, right? Like the money in Path is the crafting materials. So when you are like putting shit into your weapon or into your piece of gear to make it something different, you're legitimately like shoving dollar bills into your fucking suctor or whatever. It's fucking weird.
I don't know. Sounds like Trove to me.
It's all Trove all the time, baby.
The result, though, is like I do so much damage at this point that it's not even. It's kind of like not even.
I think you're with me on this, Tony. I fucking love crafting something up to max level.
Yeah, same.
It's just like
if I had bought my weapons, it would not be nearly as cool.
Yeah,
as like having gone through the process of making them myself, and like. It kind of comes with benefits too. Like you could get carried by RNG or just destroyed by it. Like my second one, if both of my weapons went that way, I wouldn't be nearly close to done. Right? I'd still be working on the second one because I wouldn't have enough currency to do. But my first weapon, Like I used alterations, maybe like 100 of them, and it rolled 18% on the thing, which I was like, okay, fine, that seems decent. Let's upgrade it and see what happens. Maybe I'll keep the 18%, and then there's another item you can use later which re-rolls the values on it. And when I upgraded it, it gave me one of the things I was going to craft onto it anyway. So I didn't have to annul off the other one, and my weapon is basically like done except for the other 4 mods I have to craft on. Nice. So that one I made a shit ton of money on. Like if I were to just sell that weapon right now, it'd be worth 100 times more than what I bought.
Yeah, that's cool.
So but the experience is there with just making your own. I think in small doses, I would much prefer to like work on some things, but buy the other things where it's more convenient to do so. Because there are some grinds that I haven't done yet, but like basically like people have told me is just absolutely terrible. Like trying to 6-link an armor piece is really hard. It's very rare, and it costs so much money that it's just not really fun. And it's better to just buy one and spend less money and give someone who got really lucky, who took that gamble, the payout. That's the way I ended up going. But yeah, crafting gear and all that shit, and like working on builds and leveling up and basically running rifts in Diablo, right? That's basically what I'm doing. And then the other content that they've got sprinkled in from the 6 years of development that this game has been, had going into it has been really cool. Being able to experience all that stuff, even though the league mechanic this time is still kind of lackluster, they're making some changes pretty soon to that. So we'll see.
Cool.
But Path has been pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you're still enjoying it. Is there have you finished like the story of that game?
Yeah. I think I was pretty close to done. I don't remember where I was last week, but I was either finished with it by then or very close.
I think you had not finished it last week because you said that you were still playing through it, but
okay.
Cool. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm basically in the end game content now. Like people aim for 90 in a league basically. And if you get to level 100, not very many people do, and it's pretty difficult because it's kind of like in BDO. Like once you get to 90-ish, the amount of experience you need to level up increases pretty exponentially per level. But the penalty for dying, which is 10% EXP, does not change. So one death could cost you hours of grinding. Once you get to that level 99 or whatever. And I was stuck at 89 for a long time, and then stuck at 90 for a little bit less time now that my build is stronger than it was. But yeah, it's interesting to see, and I'm curious how far I'll end up getting with the build. If I get to 100, that would be super rad. But I don't know. I'll have to see. I've never experienced the actual grind there before, so I'm not really sure how intense it's going to be. I will say that my 4 stash tabs have already proven to be not nearly enough space.
I thought that might be the case.
Yeah, I've started I have 2 full tabs of maps because you have they each are 1 space and don't stack. So 2 full tabs of maps, and then I'm starting to use the guild bank for the guild that I'm in. I just have basically commandeered a tab that I'm just throwing. You guys can have this if you need it, but whatever. I just can't fit it in my stack. So I don't know. Path is cool. Eventually, I might end up buying some more stash tabs, but we'll see. We'll see how much longer it ends up being interesting because I am at that repetitive part now. I'm having a lot of fun with it, but eventually they all do get kind of stale. So we'll see.
Cool. I'm pulling for you, Tom. I think you're gonna make it to 100.
I am unsure.
Okay, I will believe for the both of us. How would you guys feel about taking a peek in the mail sack?
Sure.
Now I'll ask the question. Do you want the voicemail or the tweets first?
Yes.
Tweets.
Oh, we got a definitive answer.
Well, I just don't want to have to fill air while you prepare the voicemail.
Damn, brutal, but you know what? Fair. Totally fair. Because
I
was not prepared.
Now you get to prepare for the thing while you do the tweets.
Yeah, sure. Because I do need to figure out if I have to put a password in for that. You can be a part of the show in a variety of ways, like sending us a tweet at IrrationalPod with the hashtag IPQ. We will read it on the show. Get your thoughts, get your feelings out there. You can also send us an email, mailsack@irrationalpassage.com, or leave us a voicemail at 404-590-1337. It's like late because it is. Blank, blank, blank. Let's get into it. First question is from Scott White at Solid Snake 120. It's directed at me, but I do have a little chime in for you guys, mostly Tony on this one. He says, Alex, what game are you most excited to check out at PAX this week? Not Borderlands 3. Not excited about that one. I have a couple of appointments. Let me see.
I have a most excited for a game. I think it's pretty well known.
Yeah?
It's the Valhalla sequel.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to bring up. I'm seeing Nirvana. It's spelled in a weird way, kind of like Valhalla was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the sequel or successor to Valhalla, I'm really excited to see what that looks like, and come back with thoughts for you and Nabishin. I'm seeing the Messenger DLC, which is like this kind of summer-themed, like beach-themed DLC for the Messenger. Really excited about that. I'm seeing the last Shovel Knight DLC, the King of Cards, which I saw a little bit last year, but I didn't really get to play. So, also Yacht Club Games is publishing something, which is, as far as I know, the first game outside of what they've done, like Shovel Knight, that they are publishing. It's some secret game that I will hopefully know about more soon. Those are I think the only big appointments I have right now. I have a pretty open schedule. There's a ton of stuff that's going to be in the Indie Mega booth that I'm hoping to hang out with and see. I would say of like the things, like Nirvana is probably the one I'm most excited to see, just because I can't wait to see what that looks like. But also the Messenger DLC. But yeah, PAX is going to be fun. Mike Burgess sends this next question at Mike Hits the Wall. He says, who do you think will benefit from Stadia? Larger devs who can make use of multiple GPUs even if it costs more? Or will that cost be too much and indie devs not needing to worry can make quote-unquote cheaper experiences that would flourish, being more widely exposed? Indie devs or AAA developers, who would benefit more from Stadia? What do you guys think? What do you think, Tony?
Indies.
Indies? Just the exposure?
No, I think it's going to be closer to AAAs.
I think, like, I might kind of fall with you, Scott, because, like...
It all comes down to in the other services, the buy-in is not the games, too, which the wording says that is the case for Stadia.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the other services, you also have to buy the game.
Yeah.
And log in there. So, with this, it's when you have that rental services, people get a cut.
Yeah.
So, you might be indie in terms of what you can develop for.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly think that the more well-known publishers are going to get the bigger cut.
I think they'll get the bigger cut. My thought here is like it benefits AAA more because like more people will play their games, because AAA games for the most part are $60. If this is like some kind of subscription thing, like that barrier to entry is a lot lower. Like I still know a lot of people, adults or otherwise, that are just like, hey man, like I can't spend $60 on a game like every week. It's just too much. So that's why I'm having to pick and choose. Silver PR is a good example of that. Of like he's always notorious about like, hey, like, you know, I have to wait to get this, or the timing has to be right for this. Not to put him on blast or anything, but I think like that's fair and true. It's not just $60. It's also like a time commitment. So I think if like, hey, I'm paying $15 a month for Stadia, let me try out Assassin's Creed, right? Like I don't have to spend $60 on it. Cool, let me try it out. Or if like you suggested earlier, Scott, like, oh, I can rent this for this month for like $7.99 or $10.99 or whatever. Yeah, I'll do that. Like I'll see how much I can play. My hope with indie stuff would be, my feeling when I see a lot of cool indie games is like, oh, I wonder what that's like. if I could just check it out and like get a vibe and know yay or nay if it's gonna work for me way faster, as opposed to me inevitably saying like, oh, like this is on Steam only, or like, oh, like I can't play this on Mac, or like it's PC only, or like, oh, it's coming to Switch in like 9 months, so I guess I'll just wait and then forget about it. You know, it's a lot of those, but maybe I'm wrong. John Anderson at Hey John Anderson says, we're gonna bring back the Bro C or what? You never look at my DMs. I think this was also, I feel like this was also directed at me. I do not ever check my DMs. And let that be a lesson to all these people that guilt me for not responding to them. All right? I never check my DMs. Stop asking. It's not helpful at all. Maybe it's time for the Bro C to come back. I think that's it for tweets. Unless I didn't get any of me. I'm very excited for this voicemail. Hey, you know what, Scott? I didn't get ready.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
All that planning. Oh no, it's not that far away. Silver PR, if you are unfamiliar, it's been a little bit since his last voicemail. He sends us voicemails. He's like one of few that has done it or does it. So he's got his own little segment on the show. Let's hear from him right now.
Hey guys, hope you're here. I hope I'm doing good or well. You know, it's been like 4 months, 5 months since I've one of these, and you know, everything's coming into balance. My kids are getting the help they need. Me and my wife are getting background checks. That means that pretty soon, sometime in the spring, early summer, we could have an offer to move from the shelter to a proper place. So fingers crossed, everything will be good down the summer. Well, without further ado, let's just talk about video games. A couple quick hits that I'm not going to explain too much. Maybe you guys already know about these games. Some indie darlings. Punch Club, Moonlighter, and recently Beat Cop that I actually haven't finished yet, but having a ton of fun, you know, here and there when I grab it. Also The Witness, but because I started playing that game, and obviously I haven't even tried to look in the internet for solutions about some of the puzzles. So I'm trying to break my head with that myself, and you know, I play here and there when I want to do a palate cleanser. I pretty much, sometimes it gets frustrated itself. So, but I do enjoy it, you know, playing something else other than action games, a puzzle-like kind of adventure. It's kind of nice.
Witness is a game you gotta put down.
But
every now
other
and again,
games that I've been playing that I want to talk a little bit in depth. Let's start with Apex Legends. You know, one of the things that I don't like about Fortnite myself is the meta of building. That obviously is what takes you for winning matches most of the time, and I never had an enjoyment out of it. Never liked it. Not because people are better than me in that, but the thing is that it's what makes you win, and since I'm not good at it, I don't enjoy it. And Apex Legends is the opposite of it. Just pick a hero, go down with a team of 3, grab guns, pew your opponent, try to survive. You die, you reset, go to a next match, and just do the whole process once again. And it's simple, and that's what I'm looking forward for my shooters. And especially, you know, it's been the Battle Royale. It's a plus. It's great. So, Apex Legends, it's a winner for me.
2 thumbs up.
Fortnite, I do enjoy watching guys like Dr. Disrespect, Ninja, and Shroud playing that game on Twitch, but not me as a player myself. No. I hate it. So, also Dragon Ball FighterZ. I took advantage of a $15 sale that happened sometime back in Newegg. And to be honest, one of the things that I did when that game came to me, when I arrived on the mail, I immediately deleted Street Fighter V. And I started having fun with this game. And I'll tell you why. Because Street Fighter V, a game as a service, has been failing their community. They announced Season 4 on December. Released one character that is pretty much a copy of Ryu as an evil Ryu. It was even underwhelming Ryu, evil Ryu in my
underwhelming
opinion.
Ryu.
They didn't release a season pass, so the game as a service, it's no more. They said that they were going to do things differently this year, It's been 3 months since that statement and no announcements in the latest big fighting game community events. And so I just deleted it because I didn't want to hang around and just wait for announcements and having a game that I'm not going to invest my time in on my hard drive. If they announce something down the line that it's satisfying, new characters, all drop at the same time, whatever they want to do, fine. But right now they're radio silence and it sucks. And I know they're in the tail end of Street Fighter V, and maybe they're just working in the next iteration of maybe the next versus, and maybe a Street Fighter 6, whatever they doing, and perhaps that's gonna be by next gen. But right now, I'm only interested in Street Fighter V as a game to play with. I do enjoy watching the fighting tournaments online, so that's a thing. So
I'm proud of you, Silver PR.
yeah.
Let it go.
And also,
Move on.
I'm just waiting for Mortal Kombat 11. You know, Mortal Kombat 11, or at least NetherRealm and Warner Brothers, have been doing kind of sort of like Bethesda-like of announcement. They announced the game in December. They made a thing in February or in January. And then it's just being stream after weekly stream of announcements and character announcements, just keeping the hype until now on April. And I think they're doing it the proper way. And it's killing Street Fighter V and the mindshare aspect of things, to be honest, and it's doing it on me, so that's a good thing. So I'm looking forward better for games like Mortal Kombat 11 and Samurai Showdown, that there's still a little bit of unknowns, but it's looking good for what they have shown. So I'm looking forward for those fighting games other than Street Fighter V. But Dragon Ball FighterZ is a good game, good recommendation, not just because of the IP, but because it's a good fighting mechanic kind of game. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Nothing else to talk about. I saw a couple things out there in the world, like Captain Marvel. Put myself updated in Gotham. Looking forward for the last 2 episodes of the series. It's getting too tense in that series. Getting myself again familiar with Supernatural, Archer, DuckTales, because I haven't watched the newest DuckTales series, and I'm having fun with that. And yeah, and looking forward for Avengers 4, because that's not a movie. That's an event. That's an experience.
Baby.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna drop on us on April. So yeah, that's pretty much about me, guys. It's been a while. I know I listen to you when I can, as a weekly basis. Obviously, see your tweets, to your opinions about stuff on Twitter. I still love you guys. So without further ado, have a fun one. Have a happy Saturday. So PR signing out.
We love you too, Silver. It's good to hear from you. Congratulations on letting Street Fighter go. Let it go. Don't let it haunt you. Tony, where are you at with Game of Thrones?
Not anywhere close to it.
Okay.
Last time I watched Game of Thrones was the end of the season in which the Red Wedding took place, when it was the newest.
So that was season 3. So
A significant portion of time ago.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if you would still watch that show, because I feel like we had talked about it at some point.
I want to at some point perhaps watch it, but
Okay.
it just hasn't really been something that I've sought out.
Okay. I'm looking for somebody to talk about Game of Thrones with, all right?
I hear you. I think I have a lot to watch if I wanted to catch up from there, and I would also need a massive refresher because I don't fucking remember anything other than the fire bitch is fucking awful.
Oh, you don't like Daenerys?
No, she's great. The priestess of fire god person.
Oh, the lady with the red hair?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Don't like her.
Yeah. She's questionable at best. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna force you to catch up in a month, but that's where I'm at. I'm just looking for somebody to talk about Game of Thrones, because he brought up watching stuff, and y'all Gotham, the television show Gotham, is fucking wild. It is. It's crazy to me that A, it exists at all, but B, that it's gone on for 5 seasons. It's one of those things where the people that have watched past season 2, where it's supposedly when it gets really good, because a lot of people like season 1 and I didn't. They tell me it's just forget everything you know. Just let it go. Embrace the chaos that is what this show is. No, nothing is canon. Nothing is sacred. This is Gotham. So I don't know. Gotham is wild. That's the end of the show. Thank you, Silver PR, for calling in. Thanks everybody for tweeting in. We appreciate you very much. A couple other things I just want to throw out before we close everything out. You can follow the show and get updates on when we're live, when the show itself goes up on audio feed, when stuff happens on irrationalpatches.com, all that stuff. I would definitely follow us for sure now because PAX East is coming up. We are at Irrational Pod on Twitter. And Irrational Passions on Instagram. Those are our two big platforms. Obviously, irrationalpassions.com is the website, but if you want to just get updates on stuff, those are the places to go. If you like the show, please rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play, or Spotify, wherever you listen to the show. Check out our other shows like Input, Raccoon City Radio, which is wrapping up, and Video Game Book Club, which is still going strong. And then everything else we do is on irrationalpassions.com. We've reached the end of the show. It's time for bets. Bets. A simple one this week because I think this might actually be a tough one to nail down. But maybe we will find out. And also, we're not recording next week, so it's a little bit easier for me to get 2 weeks from now. This week's bet: what will Yoshi's Crafted World Open Critic score be? What will the review average of Yoshi's Crafted World be?
0? No, my bet from earlier stand.
Did you say 13?
You just got undercut.
12 or something.
Shit.
Yeah,
you just undercut yourself, Tony. Mine was a -1.
Price is right at you again, motherfucker. Scott, what's your bet?
I'm going for an 85.
All right. I said 82. Tony said 12. Do you want to lock that in, Tony?
Yes. Yeah, I think that game is going to be fucking garbage.
Jesus, dude. Killing me. I will grab Nabashin's bet within the next week or so before the game comes out. Last week's bet, I am kind of curious how this one's going to pan out. It is 10:58 p.m. on a Saturday night, Eastern time, just for point of reference. 7:58 p.m. Pacific, which is prime streaming time for those West Coast streamers. Last week's bet was, this time next week, how many viewers will The Division 2 have on Twitch? I said 27,000. Tony said 39,000. Scott said 60,000. And Nabashin said 7,000. I forgot he had that big drop off. I do want to give a quick shout out, not The Division 2, but Sekiro has 128,000, which is cool. The Division 2 has 25.6 thousand. Man, I was so close. I said 27,000, which is cool. That's 2 in a row for me, baby. 2 in a row. Which brings team about to bust a bet score up to 4 points. We bet the bust out here, you know what I mean, Tony?
Yep.
And team doubling down, still going strong.
Thank you for reminding me there's something, and this is completely unrelated to the show, and I'm really happy that I threw you off for this, but there's something that you need to listen to right after the show ends.
Okay. Excited now. We're at 4 points. Team doubling down, still at 3 points. The Norders still at 3 points. Our guest team. That's it. That's the show. Thanks everybody for listening, hanging out, joining us on this ride. This is a really good show. I'm feeling really good about this one. We're gonna take a week off next week, but we will be back the following week with more video games. I'm excited. Hopefully, you guys will have played a little bit of Sekiro by then. That's my hope. It's my dream. Thank you to Danny Wiesner for our opening music of Two Player Co-op and our closing music of The World Is Saved. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Scott. And thank you, Nabashin, wherever you are, getting some rest, hopefully, for joining me as always. I love you guys. Big hugs all the way around. I should have a final word. I won the bet. I should have a final thing to throw out there. I'll say this, because Stadia is like the hot topic, right? And this is like my closing thought, without interruption here, if I can think of a good way to say this. I would say, like, I think there is a real, genuine problem that luckily none of us are affected by, because we live on a coast. We live on the East Coast. So we have access to very, very good internet. And I think that's great. I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. But there is like a whole middle part of this country that has like really bad internet. And on top of that, they have things like data caps. Like, people live in this country with a 1 terabyte data limit per month for their whole household internet. Like, I don't know if I could live like that. I might not even use a terabyte of data in a given week, but like streaming this show out, talking to you guys on Discord, and then posting and publishing and uploading the show, like that already is like probably over a gigabyte of data, and that's 4 times a month. It's got to be more than that too. So like there are real issues with the idea of saying like, hey, this is the future, nothing else matters, right? Like, I think more so than saying consoles are dead prematurely is kind of silly. I think like saying consoles are dead and get with the times and get with the future, you were saying like, all you people in the middle of the country, all you millions of people, fuck off, you don't matter. Like, the world's gonna move on without you. So just, be aware of that when you say stuff like that. And all that being said, like, maybe this is a good thing because maybe this will push everything forward. Maybe we can figure out this internet service provider monopoly bullshit and make things better because of this. Maybe it'll be the start of something. Who knows? Stay optimistic out there and don't be mean. That's it. That's the show. I've been your host, Alex O'Neill. Play your games. Stay irrational. We'll talk to you all in 2 weeks. Titles.
We got go big or just go to bed. A future where escalators overtake stairs. Spoilers and the Dark Souls of Shinobi games.
I really like a future where escalators overtake stairs.
I already picked the third one, so yeah, a future where escalators overtake stairs.
So funny.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a really funny thing to say, Scott.
I thought it was ample comparison.
It was a great comparison. I love it. I know it was your thing to say, Scott, but do you want to say the episode number? And then, Tony, do you want to say the title?
Okay.
What?
It's 417.
This is Irrational Passions Podcast, episode 417.
A future where escalators overtake stairs.
You've met your match, stairs.
Tony, you want to send me the song?
Yeah.
Scott and I do have to talk about Kingdom Hearts.
Talk about it.
All right, Scott.
All right.
Spoiler warning, everyone listening. Kingdom Hearts 3 spoilers.
Okay, yeah, so first things first. I kind of just dropped it, but I didn't finish about my problems with the whole Terror showing up.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just immediately gone after that. Like, snap of the finger, gone.
Yeah.
Second he shows up, gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was that.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally
so
fair.
But the point is that regardless of any sort of explanation of why things happen, it's a very jarring presentation to the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So, but it's it top of the line for JRPGs.
Hell yeah, dude.
And it's not that I didn't expect that kind of stuff to be in it.
Yeah.
But it's like it of anything else, it feels like they made lemonades out of unripened lemons.
I like that.
And then called it limeade.
For fuck's sake, you all right? Yeah, I'm a big fan of how everything wraps up.
So
how did you feel about like the very end?
So the very end was fantastic. Straight up.
Like
I got the test of the mechanics I wanted, and how good I think they were held up through that fight.
Mm-hmm.
There was no oh hey, I don't have dodge roll and all of a sudden this is a problem
Yeah.
moment in this game. There was no oh hey, these mechanics were never tested before and this very thing is extremely broken now.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whole it never being tested almost felt as a disguise as to you're being tricked into thinking that these mechanics are better than they are because you are doing better than you should be doing.
Okay. I
Right?
like that.
And that's even though it's not,
Mhm.
that's what it felt like it was.
Yeah. There is one extra like really cool boss fight that might be worth going back and doing. If
Do tell.
like the little portal things that what do they call them? Battle rooms, battle gates. That's what they call them.
Yeah.
So a bunch of them populate in all the worlds after you beat the game. So you can go back and do them. And some of them are really hard. Some are like whatever. But there's one with a secret boss in it in the Keyblade Graveyard in like the second big... Like there's the area that you spawn in and then you go through the little tunnel and there's like a big open area. That is where it is. It's a really cool fight. It's not like a character or anything. It's like a heartless enemy, but it's like the tough extra boss of the game. It's a cool fight. So I think you would also get a lot of that.
The only thing I could say is last time I said, hey, maybe it's for the best that Reflect isn't in the game.
Yeah.
And if 3 Final Mix brings more fights like that final fight to the rest of the game, or it even tacks it onto the game, then it very much so has a place again.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that is exactly what that game would do too. Because that's what Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix did in like tenfold. So so the thing I wanted to talk about, Scott, right? You saw the ending, very sad, like kind of melancholy final shot. Obviously, Sora's gone.
Yeah. Sora's just gone.
Yeah, which I thought was great.
Kyrie's back. Where'd Sora go?
Yeah. I thought that was great. I thought earned
I was
moment.
upset.
I mean, I was upset. But it was a powerful moment, right?
Because it's like, when in the timeline is that?
Yeah, is that like was that at the end?
Is Sora just still out searching? Did Lushu get him?
Yeah, like my interpretation was that was like the end. Like Sora had just brought Kyrie back when they were having their fucking beach party full of tears, me crying. And then Kyrie knew he was whatever he gave up to get her back was about to cost him, and then he, like, people thought dies, but disappears. So the thing that I want to bring up, so like the secret ending, where again, you bringing up all this stuff about the fucking Virum Rex shit. So you watch the secret ending, right? Again, you bring all that up. I'm like, fuck, I gotta not say anything about, oh man, Virum Rex would be cool if it came back. It's like, it's coming back, Scott. It's coming back in this game. But so like that whole scene at the end is in Shibuya from The World Ends With You. Because there's like a shot of a warehouse with the same fictional number from The World Ends With You. So people think that the thing that Sora got pulled into was the limbo that you had told me about from The World Ends With You. That is the theory. That Sora in some way died and he's there. Either way, it seems like they're doing some kind of The World Ends With You thing. And Virum Rex.
I didn't see that portion of the scene. I don't think.
I
don't. Is the secret ending the portion where it's the old what is it? The old master's coming back?
No, that's the epilogue.
Right. So the secret scene is
it's after that, which would be it's like Sora walking around Shibuya. Did you not see this?
I didn't see that.
Oh, you got to look this up, man. You should have unlocked it for beating it on Proud.
I probably did, but it didn't show up at the end title screen.
Yeah, maybe you have to go into the theater to watch it. I don't. That's how I ended up watching it, but that's because it patched in the day after I beat the game.
That might just not be an autoplay thing.
Maybe go watch it.
So I mean, like if that is the secret scene, then maybe honestly,
maybe. But it's cool. It's so like
because they put him in the game, so it's maybe they're bringing that world back.
Maybe that's my hope.
Maybe him being stuck in that game, in that world, is simply because he's there as a Keyblade wielder outsider.
Yeah.
And honestly, what I think happened is that Sora didn't have to do anything to get Kairi back.
What do you mean?
Just like how he saved the worlds at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kairi was put back then.
Mm-hmm.
Him restoring Kingdom Hearts the third time with the Master Keyblade, with Kairi was restored as normal then too. And Sora kinds of goes off without any contact and is still looking for Kairi even though she's fine.
Huh. Okay. I've not heard that. I like that take a lot actually. That does add up.
Because that adds up real quick.
Yeah.
It's more to me it's more likely that he couldn't find his way back.
Yeah.
And after trying to search.
Yeah, the big thing was like young Xehanort says like there's a consequence for using the power of waking. That was what Sora was using to rescue everybody at the end there. And that maybe that paid off in him disappearing at the end. Who knows? That's
the consequence he says straight out is that you will end up falling into a deep darkness like you did before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the punishment for going too far into the going too deep is falling asleep yourself.
Yeah.
So if he's walking around in Shibuya, he hasn't gone too far yet.
Hopefully. Kingdom Hearts 4, baby. Cool, man. I'm glad things came together for you at the end there. That's awesome. Now you're with the rest of us. Just waiting again. But it's over.
Yep.
Here's the thing. I think they ended the thing and they did it real well.
Yep. I enjoyed that ending quite a bit.
Fun fact, young Master Ericus, his voice actor is Drake Bell from Drake and Josh. It doesn't sound like him at all. Like if you go back and listen to it, you're like, oh, like he's performing for this in a way that, oh, like this is a cool voice for this. But it's really fun fact. That's it. That's the show. Thanks everybody for hanging out in our Kingdom Hearts spoiler corner. I guess this is the last one, but if more Kingdom Hearts happens in the future, y'all know we're gonna do this again. So,
yep. It's if I go back and do any other Kingdom Hearts stuff, it's mainline show. That final boss mainline show.
Yep.
Extra boss.
Extra boss. Yeah, we would talk about that on the show. Cool. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a good night.
And I can stop recording.